So you're a pan millennial. It'll all pan out, huh? I don't buy it. Ooh, is Alexis in here? Alexis knows what I'm talking about. She knows what's up with that post-mill optimism. Yes, yes. What's up, Alexis? Welcome to the party. Miss Hart decided to not do the eschatology live tonight, so I figure since I already was going to do it, I figure I would do it anyway. Post-mill for life. In the event that a rapture occurs and I find out I'm wrong, so be it. But I don't think so. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm assuming yes. So I figure someone would have said something by now. I'll change my mind mid-flight, yeah. They're like, well, guess I was wrong. So I actually kind of want to start a little bit before Matthew 24 and Matthew 23, because Matthew 23 is pretty fun. Because Jesus is laying into these Pharisees like it's nobody's business. Actually, I can just start reading there. We got 9 in here. Hopefully, whoever is going to join will join as I go. So I'm going to start in 23:25, actually, because this all applies to setting up what we see in Matthew 24. Because the thing is we have to remember that there were no verses and chapters when this was originally written. The original language doesn't have a Matthew 24. It just is a continuous narrative. So I'm going to start in verse 25 of chapter 23 first. So, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you clean the outside of the cup and the plate, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. You blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and the plate, and the outside also may be clean. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly appear beautiful, but within are full of dead people's bones and all uncleanliness. So you also outwardly appear righteous to others, but within you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you build the tombs of the prophets and decorate the monuments of the righteous, saying, if we had lived in the days of our fathers, we would not have taken part with them in shedding the blood of the prophets. Thus you witness against yourselves that you are sons of those who murdered the prophets. Fill up then the measure of your fathers, you serpents, you brood of vipers. How are you to escape being sentenced to hell? Therefore I send you prophets and wise men. I send you. Jesus talking. Isn't that interesting? Therefore I send you prophets and wise men and scribes, some of whom you will kill and crucify, and some you will flog in your synagogues and persecute from town to town, so that on you may come all the righteous blood shed on earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, whom you murdered between the sanctuary and the altar. Truly I say to you, all these things will come upon this generation. So upon that generation, the people that Jesus was speaking to, that generation is what he's talking about here. Keep note of that. It's a very interesting thing. So to end this little sequence, O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the city that kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to it, how often would I have gathered your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, but you were not willing. And here it is. See, your house is left to you desolate. For I tell you, you will not see me again until you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Your house is left to you desolate. So, and here we go going into Matthew 24. So if we didn't imagine that there were any breaks in the chapters here, we would just be continuing on in the text as if it's all part of the same line. So we don't have to break here. This just continues on as into the same subject matter that we were talking about. And there's no reason to think that it changes subjects just because we've put ourselves a chapter break here. So keep in mind. So Matthew 24, Jesus left the temple and was going away. When his disciples came to point out to him the buildings of the temple, but he answered them, "You see all these, do you not? Truly I say to you, there will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down." So why would he have said that right there? What did we just see? He condemned the Pharisees, put on their shoulders the blood of the prophets, told them their house is left to them desolate, and said, all these things will come upon this generation. Somebody's ahead of the game here. So, continuing on. So anyway, just to let you know, that's a prophecy that came true. And that's really not contested by anyone. Regardless of your eschatological belief, everyone, as far as I know, agrees that this specific passage, these two verses, if you will, was referring to the temple of the second temple, and that was destroyed in 70 AD. That's pretty much uncontested. But why do we think we need to change the subject here? That's the thing. So if you're of the futurist view, at this point is when you would probably say, okay, now Jesus is talking about something else. Why do we think that? So here's what's next. So verse 3. As he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" So it's important that we say age here. In some translations, they go with world, which is putting in a presupposition, because that word there is not world, it is age. It is aeon and not cosmos. It's not the end of everything. It's the end of the age. So why did the disciples ask him this question? What did he just talk about? He rebuked the snot out of the Pharisees, told them that their house would be left to them desolate, and then said it would come on this generation. And then he said this temple is going to be torn apart. And then the disciples ask him this question. All of that sequence right in a row. So when we start placing this in context, it starts to be very clear what's happening here. So in response to that question, what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? Jesus says this, "See that no one leads you astray. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ. They will lead many astray, and you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet." Let's pause there for a second. Why would he say that you will hear of wars and rumors of wars? So us in the Western culture that we are as Gentiles, we hear of wars and rumors of wars all the time. So that doesn't mean much to us. But what we have to remember here is Jesus speaking directly to us right now? No, he is speaking to his disciples and he's answering a specific question. So what would that mean to the disciples? And Jim right there has it dead on right. The Pax Romana. So that's the peace of Rome. So whenever there was any kind of an uprising, Rome squashed it immediately. So you would never hear of wars and rumors of wars during the Pax Romana. So to them, that would be something weird to hear. He's like, we're going to hear of wars and rumors of wars? We live in Rome. How is that true? So that's why it's noteworthy to place the text in the time that it was written and recognize who it was being written to. Or not written to, but spoken to. It's a better way to say that. "See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are but the beginning of the birth pains." So let's pause there for a moment. So weird because everything is Roman. Fair enough. So nation against nation and kingdom against kingdom. So just as a preface, Rome is known as the Empire of 10 Kingdoms. Rome itself was known as the City of Seven Hills. Take note of that later if you are reading Revelation, because, it won't be a spoiler here as I'm going, but the beast, the first beast that rises of the sea and all that, that is Rome. That is the Empire of 10 Kingdoms. That's what that number 10 represents. And Rome as a city is the city of seven hills, which is what the seven represents. And when you get to the second beast, it's clearly a person being referred to there. and that is the ruler of Rome at that time, which was Nero Caesar. So put a pin in that, and we'll talk about that later. So, famines and earthquakes. So what do we see in the early 60s start to happen? We see a famine. There were earthquakes in various places, one of which was the crucifixion of Jesus, but there were plenty of others. There were earthquakes from Mount Vesuvius, which finally blew up in, I want to say, was it 84? I think it was 84 AD. I might be wrong on that. Maybe it was mid-70s. I'd have to check that reference, but someone correct me in the chat. But it was post-70 AD, the big eruption, the one that's so famous. But there were eruptions before that, or not eruptions, but earthquakes from that were occurring before that. Because of these things that happened, the famine was causing the Jews to revolt. That was a big part of it. And so they actually were attacked from the north, which caused the Jewish Revolt. Damar and Gentry or Don K. Preston. I know who Gentry is, but I'm not familiar with some of the others. Anyway. So the Jewish Revolt started in 64 AD. And that was an attack from Syria from the north. So it wasn't the full-on invasion of Rome. They were kind of working as a proxy for Rome. And then 3.5 years, of course, if you're into eschatology, you know what that number is. 3.5 years into that, you see Rome then come in its full force and siege Jerusalem. So we'll put a pin in that as well. I don't want to stray too far from the text here. So anyway, so Jesus is answering the question. I'm sorry if I annoy you by saying the same thing over and over, but I want to reiterate what's happening here is Jesus is answering a question to his disciples, and I'll say that a couple of times. So then they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another. And many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold, but the one who endures to the end will be saved. And this kingdom of the gospel, or this gospel of the kingdom, rather, will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So we see an order of events here that happen. You will be put to death. You will be hated by nations. He is speaking to the disciples here. I'm a pre-trib rapturous and 7-year tribulation lasts 3.5 years. So that's fine. So what we're seeing here, though, is Jesus saying to the disciples, here's what's going to happen to you. So put a pin in that. We'll kind of get to that later, because what you're describing there is not in this text. It just isn't. So we'll have to put a pin in that and come back to it. So what we see here is that the disciples will be hated by all nations. Many will fall away and betray one another, and many false prophets will come. The love of many will grow cold, but the one who endures to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony. So what do we see at the end of it? All of these things that are happening happen before the gospel of the kingdom is proclaimed throughout the world as a testimony. So why is it safe to assume that it's the reverse of that? And Jesus just mixed up how he was saying it. Really? You sure about that? He said this is what will happen, and then the gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So you see a tribulation of all of these things happening, then the gospel being proclaimed to the world, then the end coming. It's a very important thing to see here. So now we get to the famous Abomination of Desolation. So we're in verse 15 now in Matthew 24. And I'm going to flip over to Luke 21 because this same parallel from the Olivet Discourse is here. And that is 21:20. So I'm going to read Matthew 24:15 first, and then we're going to jump over to 21. So the reason I want to do that is because Matthew wrote primarily to Jews. He wrote with a Jewish focus. That's why you see the genealogy at the beginning, and all of the descriptions of stuff are very Jewish sounding, and it's stuff they would have understood. Luke, on the other hand, wrote his with Gentiles in mind. So he used language that they would understand. Very important. So, Matthew 24:15. So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel standing in the holy place, let the reader understand what Daniel was writing. Let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let the one who is on the housetop not go back to take what is in his house. Let the one who is in the field not turn back to take his cloak. And alas, for women who are pregnant and for those who are nursing infants in those days, pray that your flight may not be winter or on the Sabbath. For there will be great tribulation, such as not has been from the beginning of the world until now, and no will never be. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. So let's put a pin in it right there. So, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel standing in the holy place. So that's how Matthew describes it. Let's flip over to Luke 21. And here's how Luke describes what is there. But when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then know that its desolation has come near. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let those who are inside the city depart. And let not those who are out in the country enter it, for these are days of vengeance, to fulfill all that is written. Alas, for women who are pregnant and for those who are nursing infants in those days, for there will be great distress upon the earth. And that word there is ges, G-E-S, and is often translated to the Holy Land or Promised Land. Important distinction there. We'll keep it with earth for now. And wrath against this people. They will fall by the edge of the sword and be led captive among the nations, and Jerusalem will be trampled underfoot by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. So, here's what we see here. And see, this Mr. Buffalo here is saying that you have to have a third temple being built because you are taking a presupposition of a futurist view, which you have to have a temple built if you take a futurist view because the temple is clearly in Revelation. There's no doubt about it. So was it talking about a future temple, or was it talking about the one that was already destroyed? Because what Jesus is saying here is clearly talking about the temple. Right at the beginning of the chapter, he says this temple that the disciples were physically pointing at will be destroyed and not one stone left upon another. And that was fulfilled in 70 AD at its destruction through Titus via Nero Caesar. That is historically undeniable. Just want to make that crystal clear. No one disputes that that event happened. So if we ignore history and we take a presupposition that everything we read has to be a futurist view, then you're placing your own presupposition into the text rather than just reading strictly what it says. Because I'm just reading what it says in response to the question that was asked to Jesus. Super important there. So anyway, why is it that it would matter if this was a global, worldwide event? Why would it say, let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains? What does it matter of just the people in Judea fleeing to the mountains if all of this tribulation is happening to the world? What's that going to do for you? It's not. Nothing at all. But when you see, as Luke describes here, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then know that its desolation has come near. So then flee to the mountains, which happened. The Christians fled south to Pella and hid and were saved from the events of the Roman siege of Jerusalem. That's history. It happened. It doesn't have to be some kind of crazy hyperbole with actual scorpion people, locusts with men's faces. That's all figurative language that we see in Isaiah. Most of Revelation is just rehashing of Isaiah as far as the language is concerned. But anyway, put a pin in that. So again, why is it that the people in Judea would need to flee to the mountains if it was a worldwide event? It wouldn't. Why would it matter if it were winter or on a Sabbath for women who are nursing who are pregnant? Does most of the world practice a Sabbath? No, but who did at the time? The people who lived in Jerusalem. So, moving on. Let's see here. So starting in verse 23. Then if anyone says to you, look, here is the Christ, or there he is, do not believe it, for false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. So if they say to you, look, he is in the wilderness, do not go out. If they say, look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines as far as the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Wherever the corpse is, the vultures will gather. Yikes. So here's what we see from history here. We see recorded in Jewish writings, as well as Josephus, as well as Tacitus, as well as Pliny the Younger, that many, many, many people came out claiming to be the Christ over and over and over again. Many of which were just trying to get riches. Some were trying to just be famous. Who knows? Everyone had their own sinful motivations for doing that. But these very things which Jesus warned of 3 times in this passage already, that many will come claiming they are me, don't believe them. Why would that matter now if it were many coming? So everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, futurists tend to associate an antichrist with one man, one singular man. And usually they associate that to the second beast of Revelation. However, what Jesus actually says about it is that many will come and claim to be Christ, not one. And the word antichrist is not actually even used in the book of Revelation. So what does Jesus say about it? Many will come claiming they are me, but do not believe them. And what happened historically during that time? Many came and claimed that very same thing. So Thunder, I'm not going to let you, I'm not going to have you just pushing this propaganda here. I'm not going to allow this sensationalized eschatology where you're just trying to scare people, because these are lies. These are just lies. And I'm not going to have it. So if you're going to continue to do that, I am going to have to mute you, unfortunately. So Putin is not the Antichrist, because as I just explained, there is not an Antichrist. There have been many, countless people that are against Christ or Antichrist. It is not one man, and it never was said in the Bible that it will be one man. That is a presupposition made by the teachings of Darby in the mid-1800s and spread by the Schofield KJV into the West, and that's why America predominantly has a whole bunch of futurist views in a lot of the churches, because they have not read history, they have not read the church fathers, and they have not read the word properly, because they're inserting their own presuppositions into the text, and they're just not there. So I'm going to continue on here. So, starting in verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from the heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then will appear in heaven the sign of the Son of Man, and then all of the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And then he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So what do we see here? So first of all, there's hyperbole here. Undeniable hyperbole. And it's the same kind of hyperbole that you see in Isaiah. No one goes to Isaiah and reads that their hearts melted in their chest and said, oh yeah, their literal hearts turned to lava and melted down into their gullet. No one says that. There's no contestation about that. Or if you say that the mountains fell upon them, did a literal mountain go whoop and yeet itself on top of a dude? No, it's hyperbole. So if we see stars falling from heaven and hitting the earth, we know what would happen. It wouldn't even have to hit the earth. If a star came anywhere near us, we'd be turned to crisp, right? There's clear hyperbole here. So one of the things I want to point out, all of the tribes of the earth will mourn. So again, that tribes word, let me actually go to my notes here, because I have... I want to pull from the Greek, of which, here we go. So in 29, this is Matthew 29:31, and then as well as Luke 25 through 33, the tribes of the earth will mourn as the ESV translation. This is one of the times when I do actually disagree with the ESV. The Greek word "ges," it's G-E-S, the E has the little line over it. That translated earth in this specific instance would be better translated as land or even your country, as it is used in Acts 7:3. And in each of the four Gospels, it's used that way. But in its usage here, it is most directly tied to a translation of the promised land. Additionally, the word phili, or phili, I'm not a Greek scholar, is used once more in Revelation 1:7, because we see this reflected over, the stars are going to Hasselhoff. Sorry, you distracted me with that one. Phili is used again in Revelation 1:7, and 1:7 actually sets up the entire book. That's another topic, but the very same language is used there, where we see the tribes of the earth will mourn. Now, we might actually flip over that out after we get a little bit further here, just as a reference point. But in the Greek here, what we're seeing is that the tribes, almost anytime you see tribes, typically it is going to be talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. Of the earth will mourn, of the earth being of the promised land will mourn. Why? Because we just read in Matthew 23, Jesus roasting the snot out of the Pharisees, saying, "Behold, your house is left you desolate, and in this generation these things will happen." So who's he talking about? He's talking about them. So from the fig tree, learn its lesson. As soon as its branch becomes tender and puts out its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also when you see all these things, you know that he is near at the very gates. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. So again, Jesus says this, I say to you, truly, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. So twice now he said that. What does a generation mean to a Jew? So when Jesus is saying these words to the disciples, what is it? Okay, you're going to be muted, bud. I'm not going to have you spreading lies in my life. Sorry, it's not happening. So for the second time we see him say this. So to a Jew, a generation is 40 years. Why is it 40 years? What generation had to die out to enter the promised land? We see this during the time of Moses, where that generation had to die out before they were allowed to enter the promised land. So, okay, fair enough. If that's what you think, if you're going to trust someone who's just eisegeting their own thoughts into the text just for the sake of sensationalized eschatology, then that's on you, brother. I'm sorry. But all I'm doing is reading the text and telling you history. Nothing else. I'm not sensationalizing it or guessing about some sign out there. It is a wicked generation that always looks for a sign. So if that's what you're looking for, I'm not your guy. Sorry. So truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away. This, the one he's addressing, the disciples he's speaking to, still in this passage. So, 40 years. When did Jesus run his ministry, and when was he crucified? It's generally agreed that it was between 30 and 33 AD. So add 40 years to that. And what do you get? 70 AD. Fulfilled just as Jesus prophesied right here in Matthew. Because here's the thing. If that didn't happen, if that was not fulfilled at that time, and Jesus' prophecy was about something else, then he was a false prophet. Atheists point to this passage all the time, saying, hey, it says this generation will not pass away. And to a Jew, that means 40 years. Therefore, Jesus prophesied incorrectly here. He was not the Son of God. He was not a prophet. Or did he prophesy it perfectly, and history records that that very thing happened in 70 AD? There you have it. So continuing on, but concerning the day and hour no one knows, not even the angels nor the Son, but the Father only. And why? Because at this time Jesus was on earth, and he was in his human form, and he denied himself certain privileges of deity while he was on earth here. So we'll just put that aside for now. For as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. So what was happening during the days of Noah? Ultimate wickedness, right? It's pretty much undeniable. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day when Noah entered the ark. And they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then 2 men will be in the field, one taken and one left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one left. Therefore stay awake, that you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. But know this, if the master of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore you must also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. So what do we see there? We'll touch on that maybe in a bit. That would be a lot more in Revelation there, Curtis. But I'm with you on that. I actually agree with that statement. And that's actually how I tie the rapture to this whole thing. And I think the text is clear on that. So I agree with you. So what did we see in the times of Noah? Did we see, now a lot of futurists will look at this and go, oh, look, it's talking about the rapture. Look, there it is. Who was swept away in the time of Noah? I'll pause for a second just to let you think about that. Was it Noah and his family that were swept away? Or was it the wicked that were swept away? It was the wicked that were swept away. For as in those days, before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and given in marriage until the day Noah entered the ark. And they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. They swept them all away. They did not sweep the righteous away in some air rapture. They swept away the wicked. So how does this apply to what we just read a moment ago about the destruction of Jerusalem? Those who stayed and those who were unaware, those who didn't heed the words of Jesus, those who didn't heed the words of Paul, those who didn't heed the words of John, who wrote Revelation in the early 60s, and it was distributed throughout the 7 churches that he wrote to, and it says it right in the beginning which churches were written he was writing to. Not to mention that was a Roman postal route, the order in which he wrote those pieces, the beginning of Revelation. They weren't paying attention, and what happened to them? They were swept away and were killed by Rome. And they were put on torches and lit on fire as Roman candles, and it was horrifying for them. So, yes, the righteous were left behind. So, let's pause there and just absorb that for a moment, because I'm sure that many of you listening probably heard this passage read and were like, look, it's the rapture, look, it's the rapture. No, this was not the rapture. This is talking about a horrible incident where the covenant-breaking Israel was judged in its finality for being the prostitute that it was and adhering to the practices of Babylon, just as we see in Revelation. Those who killed the prophets that we read in Matthew 24, the unrighteous, the whitewashed tombs, the covenant breakers, their house was left to them desolate, just as Jesus described would happen. So as you continue on in Matthew, he goes into other parts too, talking about what the time will be like. And he's talking about the time in a not so distant future of what would happen. Because what happened, if we turn back to Verse 9, they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death, and you will be hated by nations. This is happening to the disciples, is it not? And what do we see in Matthew 23 a little bit earlier? I send you prophets and wise men and scribes, some of whom you will kill and crucify, and some you will flog in your synagogues and persecute from town to town. Amazing. Because what do we see? Who was crucified? Peter. Who was flogged in the synagogues and persecuted from town to town? Paul and Timothy and all the others. Who were the ones that were resisting Christianity's spread? The Jews. It wasn't really even the Gentiles. The Romans really didn't interfere all that much until the siege, until 64 to 70 AD. And then God used Rome to finish the job, essentially. And Jesus came in judgment upon the clouds, which we actually see written by Josephus, that soldiers would look up into the sky and see soldiers in the sky, and they would see visions of warriors in the sky. Now, granted, that's not scripture, in fairness, but that is the writings outside of the Bible confirming what we see coming from the Bible. So we shouldn't ignore it. Pretty amazing stuff here. So that's really all I wanted to go through. I just wanted to touch upon what Jesus actually said about the end times and the end of the age, which is exactly what's asked by his disciples right at the beginning of the chapter. Because there's these views that are out there that people are hearing all the time, and there are conferences about them, speculating on what this could mean and what that could mean, and looking for signs and wonders. And it's really a lot simpler than that. It's really a lot simpler than that. This was a historic event that already took place. It was the judgment of the covenant-breaking Israel. And then what do we see when we get to nearing the end of Revelation? So I'm not going to go and exegete all of Revelation because there's a lot there, and that would be hours. But I do want to go here. This is Revelation 20. So right at the end of chapter 19, we see Jesus coming as a warrior and tearing up the subject of this text. In my opinion, the subject of this text was definitely the covenant-breaking Israel. And what's interesting is what is the last thing that's said here? And the rest were slain by the sword that came from his mouth, of him who was sitting on the horse, and all the birds gorged with their flesh. What did you see in Matthew 24 that we just said? I'll go ahead and read it just so I'm not paraphrasing, because anytime you paraphrase anything, everybody jumps down your throat. Wherever the corpse is, there the vultures will gather. So we see that same thing reflected in the writing of John. Jesus' revelation to John that he wrote down. So then here's what we see. The 1,000 years. Revelation 20. Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, holding in his hand the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain. And he seized the dragon. This is after the events of the tribulation that we see in Revelation 19, and after the events of the tribulation that we see in Matthew 24 and Luke 21. And he seized that dragon, the great serpent, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years, and threw him into the pit, and shut it and sealed it over him, so that he might not deceive the nations any longer, until the 1,000 years were ended. After that he must be released for a little while. And I saw thrones, and seated on those were those to whom authority to judge was committed. Also I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded for the testimony of Jesus and for the word of God, and those who had not worshipped the beast or its image, and had not received its mark on their foreheads or hands. They came to life and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. The rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years had ended. This is the first resurrection. So I want to put a pause here. So those who died during the tribulation are reigning with Christ right now. It says it clearly right here. But then after that, the rest of the dead did not come to life until after the 1,000 years were ended. Blessed and holy is the one who shares in the first resurrection. Over such the second death has no power, but they will be priests of God and of Christ, and they will reign with him for 1,000 years. So here's the thing about the 1,000 years. I view this 1,000 years as not being literal. Obviously, Revelation is full of hyperbole. I see the word 1,000, and to a Jew of that time, or even a Gentile of that time, that would just mean a large number. So here's my view of what the 1,000 years is. From the time this ended until Jesus' return to accept his bride, to accept the church, to finalize his kingdom in its completion, all enemies being made a footstool at his feet, and then the last enemy being defeated being death. That is what we're seeing the setup for here. So my view is that, so I'm what you would call a partial preterist. I see people asking in the chat. No numbers in Revelation are literal. I almost agree with you, except for the number 666, because I believe that's the Jewish gematria that, when translated out, spells out Neron Caesar. But I generally agree with that statement. So my view is that the very beginning of Revelation 20 is where we are now. That the tribulation was not a world event, it was a local event for judgment of Jerusalem and judgment of Israel. And now we're seeing the 1,000-year reign. So my view is that the 1,000-year millennial reign is now. So one of the things that typically differentiates an amillennialist from a post-millennialist, which I don't really see it as a main differentiation, because an amillennialist is supposed to say there is no millennium. I don't quite say it that way, so I would consider myself a post-millennialist, but I don't view the 1,000 years literally. What many post-mills would say is that it's the last 1,000 years until Christ returns, and that's the millennial reign. I don't see that as wholly consistent. I believe that Satan has been bound about deceiving the nations, as it says right here in the text. And what do you see from 12 men preaching the gospel faithfully? What do you see now? You see this upward trend of the gospel spreading throughout all the nations, and more and more and more and more people coming to Christ. That is the part that postmillennialism is considered to be the most optimistic, because our belief is that the building and the spreading of the gospel will be used by the Holy Spirit to bring great multitudes to Christ. It isn't a matter of the world getting worse and worse and worse and worse until Jesus has to come save everybody again. The text just doesn't say that. We don't see that consistent. What do we see? We see that the gates of hell will not prevail against the church. Well, what are gates for? Gates are a defense. So who is attacking the gates of hell? The church. We are the one who should be going out and spreading the gospel and sowing the seeds that the Holy Spirit will then use to draw people to the Son. And then the Son will deliver them to the Father. Great multitudes. And then when the last person who is predestined to be saved, yes, that's what I said, the last elect, the last person that God has ordained to be the elect, once that person is saved, there's nothing stopping Christ from returning. So what should be our mission as a church? Spreading the gospel, living and being sanctified by the Holy Spirit in anticipation of this happening. Will it happen in our lifetime? Who knows? No one knows. But we live just as in Matthew 24, he told us to live in anticipation of that event happening. Because even you see throughout the writings of Paul, the anticipation, he thought it was going to happen too. He didn't know when, and God didn't tell him when. But what we do see revealed in Scripture is the events happening in Israel, and then also what we see at the very end. So as far as the prophetic calendar goes, what I'm seeing is up until verse 5. So verse 1 through 4 of chapter 20 is still past, and then from 5 onward is still future. So again, my view is that of a partial preterist, because I do not believe that all of scriptural prophecy has come to take place. Because for one, I don't remember standing before God for the white throne judgment. I didn't see the new Jerusalem descending from heaven. I did not see a renewed earth, and there's sin everywhere. So the rest of Revelation is describing that very thing. And there's nothing historically that points to that having happened. So I'm not a full preterist, I'm a partial preterist. And then I'm also a postmillennialist, because my view is optimistically that great multitudes will be brought to Christ because of the faithful preaching of the gospel by the church through the power of the Holy Spirit in the name of Jesus. So there it is. There's my, let's see, did I keep it under an hour? I did. I kept it under an hour. Not too bad. So there you have it. So that being said, I'm not going to be able to answer every question, but if you guys did have some questions that you want to posit, I'm happy to at least take a stab at some of them. Oh, you missed some of it anyway. I'm sorry, Audrey. I actually do have, so I did a podcast on Saved by the Savior's podcast. It is called I believe ... Now what? And he did give me permission to take the video from that and post it on my YouTube. So I do have that full podcast on my YouTube channel. So it's in my bio. Feel free to take a look if you want. And then I also have, it is in my TikTok. You'd have to scroll for it, and it's all in pieces because they haven't given me the ability to put things into folders, which is a bummer. But on my YouTube, I do have a whole playlist that's eschatology, and I have my whole I had two series, I believe. One is just general postmillennialism. One is an exegesis of Matthew 24, which is similar to what I just did. And then also I have what was the other thing I did? I had a historical analysis of why the book of Revelation was written in the early 60s AD and not in the 90s AD as Google tells you that it is. Because the reason that people, I'll just throw this out there quick, the reason that people will say it's the 90s AD is because Irenaeus wrote in the time of Domitian in one of his writings. When he wrote that, many believe that what he was actually referring to was the time where Domitian was a praetor for Nero Caesar, which was in the early 60s AD. And there are letters and edicts and all kind of writings that we have from that era by Domitian speaking in the name of Nero Caesar. And so a post-mill will say, well, that's what he was referring to. But later church fathers took that and misconstrued it as being the reign of Domitian, which is in the 90s AD. So understandably, that's why a lot of people think that Revelation was written in the 90s AD. But here's the issue with that. That would have made John in his 90s. So are we supposed to believe that he was exiled to Patmos, which is hard labor, and that's where he wrote Revelation? Not impossible. God can do anything. That's not evidence by itself. But he then went out and was a pastor into his 100s, because we have writings from the early church father of what John was doing after that. We have an account of John chasing down an apostate pastor on horseback. He would have been 100 years old. Can God do anything? Yes, he can. Can he take a 100-year-old man and have him ride on horseback? Sure. So, but we don't have scripture telling us that happened. So we would need to assume that that's probably not how it went down. But if it happened in the early 60s AD, well, John would have been in his early 60s. I can see a 60-year-old cowboy taking down an apostate pastor on horseback. That's pretty awesome. So anyway, whatever John this is, John the Revelator, yeah, I know what you're getting at from that. I think I missed a couple of comments. Hey, Rissa and Audrey. Sorry, I'm not ignoring you. I've just been doing my little blah, 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 as I do sometimes. So Mo Money says something is false. I'm not sure which. And Eric Green also says false, which I'm not sure what you're referring to, but we have writings from people around never Jesus himself. What are you even talking about? So we have a revelation from Jesus to John that John wrote down. We also have the Gospel of John that was written about Jesus from someone who lived with him during his ministry, as well as Matthew and Mark. Then we also have Luke, who interviewed all of the people, all of the disciples, including his mother, and wrote that gospel. So we have direct first-person eyewitness accounts, 5 of them. Really 6 if you want to count Isaiah, because if you read Isaiah, it's pretty undeniably the 5th gospel. The prophecies there are just crazy accurate for being hundreds of years before he lived. So I'm not sure why your standard of proof has to be that Jesus' literal hand had to be the one writing the words and not have been inspired from him, and that's just fine, because it's just fine. So I'm not going to get into that one, Cain's wife, all that. I've heard back and forth on that, but I've never really studied Nephilim and all of the in-between flood stuff. So I would have to I'd have to look deeper into that. We know who all of those people are. Why is it that you deny that we know who those writers are? That's long held historical fact from the first century. Let's see here. Let's go back. Genesis 18. What were you talking about there, Noel? You want me to go to Genesis 18? All right, I'm just going there on a whim. I'm trusting you, buddy. Matthew, Luke, and Peter those are the transliterations of the names of two of Peter's disciples and one of the disciples of Paul. So we definitely know what's their last name. They didn't have last names in that culture. You would have bar something else. So you would have something like Jesus. Well, it would actually be Yeshua bar Yosef or Joseph. I'm not sure how to pronounce that properly. That would actually be Jesus's name, but it's just Yeshua. It's just Jesus. It's just a name. It's not a last name. These aren't English people here. This is the Middle East. These are Jews. That's not how their culture set up names. Why was the Bible translated twice before English? So that's actually true. Erasmus actually did a translation into the Latin and then also into the English after that. But here's the thing. We have English translations that are directly from the source text now. So the ESV that I'm reading actually is from the source text. It's not using the Receptus. What is it? I think I saw. So Noel, if you're still in here, or I don't have my books upstairs, but something Receptus. It's one of the Latin. It's the one that Erasmus made. I don't think it could be modified. No, because we can compare those translations to the original source text, because we have thousands and thousands of copies of this text. So anytime you see a variation for one, you can look at the other 4,000 and go, oh, look, this one has one mistake here, so clearly this is a mistake here. And that's a good thing. If they were all literally the same, or we had the original Textus Receptus, yes, thank you, Alexis, you got it. That's what I was trying to remember. Imagine that, the Latin for the word text, and I couldn't remember it. Oh, well. What were we talking about? Oh, the translations and whether or not they're actually reliable. So they're absolutely reliable. Especially once we found the Dead Sea Scrolls, we found the entire book of Isaiah, and it was right. Hundreds and hundreds of years have passed, thousands even, and it's the same today as it was then. It's amazing how God preserved his word. Absolutely astounding. So here's the thing. So when Matthew says one thing and Luke would say something else, they would be in agreement as to what happened in the event, and they would just say it differently. So that's something that actually cops and investigators look at. If you have two witnesses to something and they verbatim say the exact same thing, then that becomes suspect. That actually becomes a negative. Because if everyone said the exact same thing, like literally verbatim the same thing, then it would be believed that they colluded beforehand to make that right. So the fact that we actually see those kinds of differences in how things were presented is giving us proof that the eyewitness testimony is accurate and it is reliable. Let's see here. Okay, you put also false, so I'm not sure what you're telling me is false. Knowledge is power. I agree with you there. Jesus is a man that was chosen by God for a message. Well, since you brought it up, now we are meaning he is a prophet. Okay. Well, you said all the things that I was hoping you wouldn't say. But since you said it, let me read this. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. So who was this Word? This is talking about a person, undeniably, right? Are we saying that this is Jesus? Yes, we are. So what happens when we go to verse 18? What happens when we see here? No one has ever seen God, the only God, who is at the Father's side. He has made him known. And who was at the Father's side in what we just read? Jesus. Yes. Yeah, I don't know, Jeremiah. It's really weird. So I don't see why it's such a big deal that God doesn't apparently have the power to make himself a man. Why is that out of the realm of the powers of an omniscient and omnipotent being? Why do I say that's Jesus? Well, because the whole New Testament talks about the Word becoming flesh. The Word is what's used to describe Jesus over and over again, Old Testament and New. So, again, I want to make sure it's said. So, Jesus came to earth, truly God and truly man. So all of the things that come with being a man, eating, sleeping, using the restroom, washing oneself, all of those things Jesus experienced as a man, a true man with a soul, with a personality and all of that, but also truly God. And let me say this too. So you said he's a prophet. So we see multiple times, and Matthew 28 is one of them. Also when Mary discovers him at the tomb, when he arose from the dead, because there's that, they worship him. Do any prophets in the Old Testament allow themselves to be worshipped? I'll pause for a moment. I know what the answer is. Most of the people in this chat know what that answer is. Did any of the prophets in the Old Testament that were anointed by God allow themselves to be worshipped? That's a hard no. That's a hard no. So if Jesus was just a prophet and he allowed himself to be worshipped, he committed blasphemy. Okay, I'll read it to you. Matthew 28. It's right here. Matthew 28:16. Now the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had directed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him. And Jesus did not stop them from doing so. All authority in heaven and on earth has been, past tense, given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you to the end of the age. Oh, so now we're discounting Scripture. So you ask me where it says that it said it, but now you don't care that it said it because it proves your point incorrect. So you're moving the goalposts here. So what is it that you want to see? What is it that would show you that what is being said here is true? What do you have to see? What is your standard of evidence? Let's hear it. So do you believe that the Bible is not inspired by God? Because you yourself affirm the Old Testament, do you not? As far as I know, they affirm the New Testament too, but they say it's corrupt. What proof can you show me that it is corrupt? Because what I see is consistency throughout it. What I see is prophecy being fulfilled from the Old Testament in the New. What I see is both ends of this library pointing back toward Jesus right in the center. Old and New Testaments are wrong and modified. So if you have no standard on which to base your faith, I don't know what to tell you. But for thousands of years, God has preserved his word. Amazingly so. So, anyway, good old Jeremiah hop on here. For those of you who don't know the Black Doctor 21, he knows a couple things, and I would give him a follow. How you doing, Jeremiah?
I'm doing all right, man. How about you?
Oh, might be good if I can hear you. What's up, brother?
I was about to say. How's it going?
It's like I hear a tiny voice coming from my left. What could that be?
Pick me up, pick me up, pick me up.
So
I'm
yeah,
doing
so
all right.
this was an eschatology live, and then of course it turned into something else. I don't know. Some of you actually were trying to ask eschatology questions, and I passed them because other questions were kind of dominating our conversation. I do apologize.
Hmm.
Um,
Let's
but
see.
being that it's a salvific issue being asked versus eschatology, which is not a salvific issue, it is better for me to have switched gears into something that is that important, which is the deity of Christ and the reliability of Scripture. So,
Right.
but if you do have another question, feel free to ask again.
No two versions of the Bibles match. Well, of course, there's only one version of the Bible, and you're going to have to. One thing that I've seen from this guy is that he's made claims, but he's never actually backed them up. If you could actually provide some substantiation to your claim, we could actually interact with it.
Mhm.
Because what Blake has been doing so far, especially backing up the claims about Jesus being worshipped, he can actually go to a source that
Right.
proves what he's saying. And the only things that he's gotten is just simply the word false. Yeah, like that. Literally like that. If you're going to make a claim, then simply provide evidence to back it up
Mhm.
instead of just simply being a contrarian. Just because something is worshipped doesn't make them real. We're not arguing that
But
because
wait, are
something
you
is
denying he
worshipped.
existed?
Right. That
Denying he
that's
existed is that's a rough one because even Bart Ehrman disagrees with you there.
right. TikTok lets me write 100 words each time. Relax. Well, I'm just saying whether or not word count is necessary. If you're going to make a claim, then at least back it up. Cite a passage. The Bible is not sufficient evidence. Then what would you require as sufficient evidence, and for what claim? You're to simply be a contrarian does not make your argument viable, nor your position viable.
Show
The
me
Bible
evidence
has
that the
been
Bible has been
modified so many
modified
times.
multiple times.
Right, exactly. If you're going to use over 100 characters to make the claim, then prove it. At least provide one example. I'm actually one who has studied the issue. I'm one who is taking classes in textual criticism. I've actually looked at the early church fathers and their references in their original language. I've seen their
Ooh.
allusions and references to scripture.
So the Book of Mormon is not affirmed by any Orthodox Christian. That is definitely a cult and definitely a false religion. The Book of Mormon contradicts many things throughout Scripture, and it is false. So we agree on that one. As far as the
Right.
New Testaments are concerned, that's a testament to the coming Messiah and the one who came and fulfilled the prophecies of the Old Testament, and they were recorded for us and preserved for us, amazingly so.
Exactly. So, to compare the New Testament to the Book of Mormon, it's like
Yeah.
literally, well, it's like comparing the Quran to the Book of Mormon. Something that comes in over thousands of years, almost 700 years after the writings of it, doesn't actually reference its previous quote unquote revelation. Automatically contradicts its revelation, and it comes from a prophet who has absolutely no backing aside from, dude, trust me.
So there is no evidence the Bible is true, though. So here's the thing: if you make that statement and you're saying it with any kind of intellectual honesty,
Which
does
he's
that
not.
mean that you looked? Because if you even looked a little bit, you would see that there's tons of archaeological evidence for what the Bible says, where things are that they would dug, and well, there it is, just like the Bible said it was. There are
Right.
tons and tons of instances of archaeology proving and reaffirming that the Bible is true historically. Now, if you have some
Right.
claims against the supernatural part, that's a discussion that can be had. That's fair. But at least have the intellectual honesty to know that this book is a historical book that is evidenced by the archaeologists.
And Mo, there is no such thing as a Bible written by King James.
That's right.
King James authorized an English translation of the Bible. He does
Right.
not mean that he wrote or translated it.
Correct.
So to say that the King James Bible is a different Bible written by King James shows that you don't have any idea of what you're talking about.
That was
And
a
he said,
Latin translation by Erasmus, and then a large group of translators and lexiconographers that translated to King James
Right.
into English.
King James has modified the Bible. Can you provide some evidence for that, my friend? Because King James had nothing to do with the King James Bible aside from authorizing it. He didn't have any translational power over it. Simply saying very true doesn't make it true. You're going to have to back this up with evidence.
2 + 2 is 5. Very true. See, I can do that too.
Right.
I
Why
can make
not
a
learn?
claim and then it can be not true, and then I can say very true and it
Are
doesn't
we
back it up.
literally just jumping from one claim to the other?
Yep.
Like
It's the
first it
machine
was
gun
the Bible
effect.
is corrupted, then it's the Bible's written in Aramaic.
Here's the thing, man. So you can shoot your little machine gun pellets at us, but you're shooting at a tank. You were not affected by it. You're going to have to throw some artillery at us to actually crack the shell.
Right.
This guy's heated. Oh, nobody's heated.
Hard to show
We
proof
hear
in
this crap
100
all the time.
Right, hard to show proof in 120 characters. I make my claims easily in under 120 characters. I can easily make a claim and then provide a verse to back it up. It's not really that hard.
I'm looking in Isaiah and I'm trying to remember where the prophecy about casting lots for his clothes.
That's in Psalm 22.
22. Yeah, I
All
started
my
too late.
bones, I can count all my bones. Let's see, they pierce my hands and my feet, and for my clothing they cast lots. Mm-hmm. Yeah, starting at verse 16. For dogs encompassed me, a company of evildoers encircled me. They pierced my hands and my feet. I can count all my bones. They stare and gloat over me. They divide my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots.
That's what I was trying to pull up. So so the person who asked her, which might have been the same person.
Probably.
There you go, that post-mill psalm. Thank you.
Nice, iPilot.
So there's one of your answers as the prophecies, one of the prophecies pointing toward Jesus. There's actually the other one right at the beginning of Genesis talking about the head of the serpent and the heel. That was all talking about Jesus as well.
Right.
And actually, the whole how are people saved in the Old Testament? Were people saved because of the adherence to the law and the works that they did and the sacrifices they made? Is that what
No.
provided them salvation?
No, of course not.
No. It was also their faith in the coming Messiah, even though they didn't know his name yet.
Right.
So
Right.
all of that pointed to Jesus as well.
Right.
So
Hold
you
up.
can truly say literally the whole Old Testament points to Jesus.
Let's analyze these two statements from our friend Mo here. The Bible is not the correct book, and yet he uses a quote from the Bible, assuming that it's true, saying that Jesus didn't even know the day of judgment.
I actually already explained that.
So which one is true? Because one presupposes the falsity of the other. If the Bible is not correct, then how do we know that Jesus did not know the day or the hour or not? Where do we even get that from? You have to take the truth of the Bible in order to make that claim to be true.
This is what a fearful man looks like to you? All right. That's what you think. That's fine.
Don't worry, Confucius is a troll.
Oh,
I've,
I haven't run
I've
into
actually,
that person.
oh yeah,
Scared sounds like this. Okay.
I've run
I've
into
seen
him
fear.
a few times. You've
I've
actually
seen
been in
fear.
war.
I've
You've
seen
been
what
in the
fear looks
military,
like.
my dude.
I've experienced it. Me sitting in my comfortable chair in my office talking about the Bible. No, I'm not scared at all.
Yeah. This is true fear. Just ignore them. They hate that the most. Yeah, if you don't feed the trolls, they starve.
That's
and
true.
eventually run away.
Well, since
So what you
we're
been up to, my dude?
work, pretty much. How was your weekend? Your sermon was great, by the way.
Thank you.
I enjoyed that. I actually got to I listened to it right after you posted it because it was before ours. So I listened to it while I was getting ready. So that was nice.
I tried to make it good because like it's our sunrise service, and a lot of people there had not had their breakfast or their morning coffee, so I needed something to keep their attention.
All right,
But
buddy. So ad hominem's not welcome here, so you're done.
you're done. You're done.
You're done.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, I actually sent it to Hunger and Thirst that same day, and he said, "Dude, you're probably the only preacher who mentions Pliny the Younger in his sermons."
It's almost like you like church history a little bit.
Yeah, it's
funny too is
it's
that
not
so
like
as I'm
I've been
reading,
waiting for this for years.
yeah, as I'm reading the KJV only controversy book, I know I'm going to have to end up having a lightsaber fight with you to to get to talk about, because I don't usually get to take a lot of the stabs at history unless it's eschatology,
Right.
in ours. So we'll have to split up some responsibilities for the translations live that we do.
For this week's
Well, it'll be
live,
next
yeah.
week. This week is
No.
the how to read the Bible properly.
Yeah,
And then the
yeah.
following one is are the modern translations reliable? So all of you
Okay.
who are actually contesting the modern translations right now, feel free to join Saturday at 7. It'll be the next week after this one. Well, feel free to join this one too if you want to learn how to exegete scripture and read it properly.
Yeah.
Noel actually did a fantastic series on that on TikTok, which he just reposted. So I'll be out this week.
Okay.
Yeah, he did it. And I don't have 10 minutes. I was going to put my eschatology ones up, like 10-minute videos, and no. I tried and it didn't come up. So I was like, this is what it is. Yeah, in 2 weeks, Saturday at 7 o'clock Central, Wheat and Tears YouTube. It's in my bio if you want to see it. Both. I like Precept, though. Precept's legit. Classical's legit. I am kind of moving away a little bit from so much of the evidential stuff. Although when I talk about Old Earth and Young Earth, I still do evidential quite a bit, even though I'm kind of in between on what I think about Old Earth. You're Old Earth already, aren't you?
I
Jeremiah?
lean Old Earth.
You lean? Yeah. I guess that's what Andrew says too. He leans. It's not like a hard stance.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like we're doing the Michael Jackson lean. It could be either way.
Got a nail in the shoe and just.
But to answer the question, I am full-fledged precept. As pretty much the only one in our group who has read most of Van Til's writings, I am staunchly precept.
Nice.
Without the existence of the triune God, you cannot make sense out of anything. And the fact that you can make sense out of things proves that the God exists and you have been made in his image.
Legit. So you're a big William Lane Craig fan then, probably, right?
I will fight you.
If you see me beheaded on my own live, that's because he teleported behind me and purple lightsabered my head off and been like, you done.
Nothing.
Don't feel too bad. You're with Jesus now.
Nothing personal, kid. Finally,
I got Sephiroth.
No, that would be.
I'm little Aerith. Oh, that's right. That's right. You're right. That was still a shocking moment.
Too soon.
One of the best moments in all the video games.
But it's too soon. It's Final Fantasy VII. It's still too soon.
Spoiler alert. Sorry for those of you who weren't playing games in 1994, 3, something like that.
Most of y'all weren't even born yet, and I can even say that because around that time, I was not even born yet.
I was still a young lad. When I was a young warthog. What do I have to do to be your friend on TikTok? Nerdy Calvinist gamers need to know. Are you not? How about that? There you go. Whoa, I didn't follow you from all the way back when? I'm kind of upset with myself. That's my bad. I've known you for a while. Maybe it's because I didn't see your name change. I didn't know the name change. I'll just use that as my excuse. There you go. I followed you. I've been begging you for
I've been
months.
begging you for months. I'm
Just be
begging
my
you.
friend. No one talks about the church. Only doctrine because of pride. Knowledge puffeth up. Interesting.
That's a
No one
pretty
talks about
prideful
the church.
assumption.
What do you mean by talks about the church?
Well, once you start talking about the church, you start talking about doctrine.
And
You
do you know what
can't.
doctrine is? Doctrine is the teaching of the Bible. And
Right.
how do you come by doctrine? By reading the Bible.
Which has been given to
So
us by the church.
why wouldn't you talk about those things?
I'm confused.
Me too. You'll
It's
send me
confused.
DVZ clips? Awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, if you can send me clips and then I can turn them into things, because I just haven't had time. Work has been
Send me
just kicking
clips so
my
I can
butt.
turn them into memes.
I will. I totally will.
I
I was
need
having fun with
content.
those during the winter. See, in the winter, my work is slow, so I
Mhm.
have time for things. And obviously, because I was putting out tons of videos, and now it's just like maybe one a week.
Yeah, my upload schedule has been shot because this I tell you what, this month has been one of the craziest months in this entire year, dude. Like, and it's not even over. Like,
Oof.
literally, I teach tomorrow. Thursday, I have two tests. My two final tests before finals. And then on Saturday, I run our youth yard sale. And
Oh,
then
nice.
let's see, next Tuesday, I have my Old Testament final, and I have an essay that is due on Tuesday, which is going to basically take most of my weekend. And then on
What's that on?
Thursday, spiritual formation, basically the doctrine of sanctification.
Oh, cool.
And then let's see, on Wednesday, we basically have, what is it, a scavenger hunt that we're doing for the youth, which still requires my presence. And then on that
Lead them
Thursday,
through the night with your lightsaber.
I know, right? I'm literally holding my saber
Everything's
beside the case.
purple. I'm scared. What's the
Dude,
name of that
I'm
Simpsons
in
character?
danger.
I'm in
I
danger.
I use that voice all the time. I'm
Oh,
a Star Wars.
oh God.
No, but Jeremiah, I totally don't know how you're feeling right now, not being in
Mm,
college myself.
mm,
Ooh,
uh,
Alexis.
Like literally,
Alexis
I'm
popped
I'm
in.
literally driving home from school right now,
I just got
which
home
is
from
why
school.
I am not having my camera on because I am not getting banned.
Exactly. Who better understands Ventil, Bonson, Frame, or Scott Oliphant? Well, since I was taught by the man, I'd suggest Oliphant.
I need to look at some of the Bonson stuff. I don't know if it's up yet, but Apologia got all of Bonson's stuff, and they're putting it up for free.
Right. I just find
Andrew,
this
I'm
quite
in
odd.
school.
Take Zach
I'm
back.
in
Take Zach back.
school. Come on, are you not listening?
No, he's
Jeez.
no, he's saying make a U-turn and go back.
Get on out of here.
I just got out of class. I have
Which
class tomorrow
class?
morning, okay?
He
Which
needs his
class?
baseology degree.
You're not wrong. You're not
You're
wrong.
not wrong.
The only person who can give me that though is least of these because he coined the term.
Sure, I have a
Baseology.
doctorate in baseology. You can't tell me what to do.
Well,
That's a
apparently
credentials fallacy if I ever heard one.
Stevens says that he's the reason baseology even became a term in the first place.
Yeah,
He
maybe.
needs, well, first and foremost, he needs to get right on baptism, and then he can finally take that
Oh, okay.
credit.
I was gonna say, did he actually get convinced of paedobaptism by you guys?
He needs to.
Yeah. Actually, have you heard anything back from is it
Sahil?
Sahil? I've been saying it wrong. I've been saying
No,
Sahil and it's Sahil. My
no,
bad.
I
It's
haven't
like you could
yet.
just call me Steven, it's fine.
Right.
I mean, hey, I didn't want to say anything, Mr. Marine.
Yeah. I've been called worse.
I've had worse. Your arm's off.
So then wait.
Just
So
a
my
flesh
dad,
wound.
my mom once told me this, is that jarhead is actually an offensive term for Marines. Is this factual?
I mean, it's a nickname. That's because of the high and tight haircut. So it looks like you can
Oh,
unscrew the top of the head.
I know. Trust me, I
I
know.
never
My
really
dad
cared.
was a Marine. My dad was
Nah.
a Marine.
Oh, yeah. No, I never was offended by it.
You know what? Video games have ruined me because now every single time I hear Marine, instead of thinking American military, I also think
UNSC.
Alliance military. No, I think Mass Effect.
Sure.
And I never got into those games.
Very good. They were good.
Understandable. But they're very good games.
Okay.
First and
So
third.
good.
Second one was not as good, but it was good.
I like Mass Effect.
This last
2 and
weekend,
3
I
are my
did get a new
favorites.
game, though. I
What you
did
got?
get a new game this last weekend, and I may or may not have gotten the Skywalker Saga.
Lego?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've never been
Okay,
into the
look,
Lego
I may
ones.
be 21, but I'm still a child at heart. I love a good Lego game, and I'm not even
Oh, I'm
gonna
not dissing
lie.
you. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm not even gonna lie. I was very skeptical about the Skywalker Saga actually being a good Lego game because they
Hey,
completely
lovely
changed.
Luna. I like your content. Welcome. I really like her content. I'm very happy you're here.
I really like her content.
I really enjoy your
She's
content.
based.
It's
She's
wonderful.
based.
She
She's
is
a friend
based.
of
I agree.
mine.
Is she? Nice.
She's a friend of mine.
I really enjoy your cheese making.
Hey,
Your cheese
you
is
don't just
delicious.
stop in the middle of nowhere like that.
Why are we talking like that? It's kind of weird.
I don't know.
Because in Old English talk is one of the best ways to talk.
Can we speak the Cockney? It's kind of weird like this. You sound like the Alfred from the Rain movies, you know. Mr. Wayne, you just want to watch the world burn.
I failed you.
Oh yeah.
Yes, good sir. Good tea, Earl Grey hot. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't get that reference because you hate Star Trek.
I said I hate Star Trek. I just said I'm not a fan of Star Trek, just like I'm not a fan of steak.
Okay. Steak?
I don't hate steak. I don't hate steak. I just don't prefer it.
One of my favorite quotes is from Star Trek, and let me make sure I don't get it wrong. It's like, there are times in life when you can make no mistakes yet still lose.
Yeah, that's
That's not wrong.
That's called Mass Effect 3.
What? They said that in Mass Effect 3?
Vegans?
No, I'm saying when you can do everything right and you still lose, that's called Mass Effect 3. Because Shepard, no matter what ending you pick, Shepard will always die.
Yeah, you can hop on, Luna. Did you? Yeah, for sure. Welcome to the live.
I tell you what, we're going to have a Star Trek watch party, and we're going to have steaks while doing it.
Oh, that sounds good.
You know
and I can
what,
tell you
Jeremiah?
right now, smoked steaks, if you've never done smoked steaks. You put the probe in there, you just let it get to medium, rare, however you like it cooked. And then pan sear, that reverse sear.
Oh, yes.
Telling you right now.
Do you have to call it a probe?
It's just doing its job of being a sensor. That's all it is.
That's like the word moist, man. It's like moist and probe. Those words.
Hey, you take a steak and you put a probe in it. No big deal.
Anyway, live
that
long
doesn't
and
sound
prosper.
wrong at all.
How you doing?
Not too bad, you?
Pretty good.
What am I supposed to say? Better than I deserve. Oh, is it? See, I'm a both. I like them both. Right over there is a Tribble, and there's a lot of Star Wars posters in here. So
yeah, I honestly don't have anything against that.
I don't know if it can be seen.
Emily,
Firefly.
You know me.
There's a Tribble
I know,
right.
I know. I was saying right like here. You're gonna hate me for saying that, but
Treble.
I
right
bet
there.
I have something you guys don't have.
Firefly, and then I don't think you can see all of that. All of these on the wall, that's all Star Wars stuff. All of that.
I just have a bunch of Lord of the Rings stuff.
Star Wars is based.
Lord of the Rings stuff? You like Lord of the Rings stuff? Like this, perhaps?
Mine's a Moria.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yes. The Doors of Durin.
Oh.
Ayo.
Who is ready
Hey,
for the Rings
it's
of Power?
Noel. Oh yeah, I got my Dragon Ball Z over here.
Yeah.
And I have
Oh,
my
yeah.
Marvel
Legitimately,
cable
who's ready?
lamp. What?
Legitimately, who is ready for Rings of Power?
Is that the new
Rings of
Amazon,
Power.
like, Lord of the
Fine.
thing?
Oh, the new
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings show. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah,
See, like,
I'm excited.
I want
not
to,
gonna
but
lie,
I'm
I'm
so
really excited.
afraid of what they put in there. I'm so afraid to watch it.
Same.
Could be great. Could
Like, I'm
be
afraid
terrible.
it's gonna. I'm sorry if this offends anybody, but I'm afraid it's gonna be like really woke and stupid.
Oh yeah, I'm afraid of that too.
It's 2022. What do you think? Well,
Once
it's
I see two male
2022
elves
Yeah.
going to each other, I'm like, click.
No.
I mean, in
It's
the
it's
Hobbit,
it's
Okay, but
2022 and they're
and
messing with our childhood. What do you think?
in the
Yeah.
in the Hobbit, having Tauriel and Killy have like a romance was bad enough, but now they're gonna have like
Other
something
stuff.
else.
We don't talk about the
Other.
Hobbit.
We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about
Yeah.
Bruno.
I was
I
waiting
almost
for
sang.
somebody
I
to make that
resisted.
reference, and I was waiting.
I was
If
about to
nobody
start
was gonna
singing
do it, I
Frozen
was
just to
gonna
break
do it
it.
myself.
Let it go. Let it
Exactly.
go.
No.
Can hear
We can
you.
only have
Can't take
one
this crap
catchy Disney song.
anymore.
We can only have one catchy Disney song per live stream, and it's Bruno.
I already sang a song from The Lion King.
Okay, well, I wasn't here for that,
No, it was actually or yaking yup force making yup. It was that one. Because they didn't put it in live action, and I was very, very sad they didn't.
I
I
am
went down
actually
like
quite
David
glad they
Big
didn't
Two.
and I
put it
don't
in
think
there.
Family Guy is very family appropriate.
When
And they're gonna
when
slaughter the
has The
pig?
Lion King ever actually been family appropriate? It literally is just Hamlet with lions.
I mean, if you
That is
want to get
correct.
if we want to talk about movies being
Bruno?
family friendly, do not show Shrek to your kids.
Yeah.
Shrek?
No, my parents didn't let me watch Shrek when I was little, or SpongeBob.
Oh yeah, me too. But
Shrek?
then when we
What is in
stopped
Shrek?
watching those movies and we watched it again recently, I'm just looking at
There's
this
just a
movie. I'm just
toilet
watching
humor.
this movie, and I'm just like, how can parents legitimately justify showing this movie to their kids?
Well,
I'd have to go back and watch it
be
again.
honest. Let's be honest. What is Shrek? Shrek is basically the anti-Disney movie because it was made by ex members of Disney, and they wanted to basically stick it to Disney, and so that's what they did.
What's up, D May?
I mean,
That
Oh my
probably has been on my
goodness!
screen
Wait,
for a while and they didn't see it.
Doctor, I just looked at your bio. You're a Hufflepuff.
Yes, I am.
I was like, oh
Ravenclaw.
Lord, that explains a lot. I'm a Gryffindor.
Gryffindor is
What does
based.
that mean? What does
We
that
can all get
mean?
along. Every house fought in the Battle of Hogwarts.
Gryffindor is the only legitimate house. You can't tell me otherwise.
The
Really?
only
Sure
legit
about that?
house. So we're just gonna take all of
Your
Hogwarts,
name is Luna.
make it full of Gryffindors.
Your
Oh, shut up! It's
name
not after
is
Harry Potter.
Luna. And Luna was
That was
a
my D&D
Ravenclaw.
character.
A
Alright.
likely story. My D&D
Here.
character is
Listen.
named Maverick. So, not Top
Nice.
Gun.
Listen,
I have one named Luna,
listen.
one named
The
Lenora, and one named...
only based house in all of Harry Potter will always and forever be Gryffindor.
Watch me
Because it
change my
is
username.
the only
Holy
one.
Cat.
underscore
It is the
Hermione.
only
Newt
one.
was a Hufflepuff.
The chosen
The
one.
Goblet of
I
Fire
will
didn't pick
legit
a
change
Gryffindor
my
for its
username to
hero.
Holy Hermione.
Hermione was a Ravenclaw.
No, Hermione
She just
is a
chose Gryffindor.
Right.
Oh.
You know, each of the three of them represented the other house, right? I mean, that's
Yes, we know.
okay.
Like, do we need to bring up Newt? because like it was a Gryffindor
Anything about those
and a
movies? I haven't seen
Hufflepuff
any of them.
that
Cries in Ravenclaw.
Wait a minute. Isn't it against the Bible to talk about Harry Potter?
Oh,
That's
it's
what I've been told by
witchcraft.
TikTok.
Witchcraft. She's
Yeah.
not a Christian.
She's not a Christian.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Yo,
Hold
but
that for
who's
the
been
back
watching
Big
Moon Knight?
applause.
'Cause
What were we
I'm
talking about?
not gonna lie. Moon Knight. Who's been watching Moon Knight? Because that is a really good show.
I heard it was
Have
really
I-
good.
I don't know what that is.
That comes out
She
Wednesdays,
didn't
right?
in
So yeah, I'm
Dark
caught up.
Side.
Yeah.
Dark side
Ellie's
stuff.
cracking me up.
But so, okay,
I
so
followed Ellie,
here's
she's
why I
cool.
love Moon Knight so much, right? So the DID aspect
Moonlight
of Mark
Sonata?
Spector. The DID that Mark Spector has, the dissociative identity disorder, the way that they are portraying it in the show is accurate. And I am saying this because I have two friends who have dissociative identity disorder, and when I described just the very first episode to them, they were like, "Oh yeah, that is accurate to dissociative to DID."
Well, that's great. I mean, it's I mean, that's
Well,
really
that's
one
great. Sorry.
No, it's like seriously, this is the one thing that I appreciate from some of the more
Jesus.
modern stuff.
I almost forgot.
You
I
know,
almost forgot about the Cheez-Its thing. How could I forget? Wasn't I the first one that tackled that one?
I think
got a lot of hate for that.
Somebody was, but you were
Because I
one of
saw
the,
it and I'm just like, okay, the Gematria. I got to go with that one. That was just
Right.
an off-the-cuff response too.
right.
We love accurate representation.
Yes, exactly. That's one of the things that I can appreciate for like most modern
Oh,
stuff.
John
They
Williams.
take people
I'm
with
sorry.
disabilities or things that we usually wouldn't represent and place them well. Like in Doctor Who, there was a person who was like literally mute, and they gave her like a really influential line. Well, not necessarily a quote unquote line, but she had a great role in her episode, and it actually brought a lot of awareness to like blind and mute people. It was great.
Not the activate crap again.
I'm sorry, Ellie.
It needs to
love
just
it.
die.
She says, so is the diary of the wimpy kid prophetic and antichrist?
Oh, she missed my live. I just did an entire live exegeting Matthew 24 and how that's literally in the text. That's what
Right.
Jesus was talking about. When he
Right.
talked about many will come saying that I am Christ, but don't go, and that's what he was talking about.
You know
Hey,
what?
I read that today.
You know what?
I read that during my reading time.
You know what? Some of the funniest lives I've seen on here. Well, of course, one of them was basically the modalist guy saying that Jesus is the Father, but there is actually one lady who is actively saying that men and women aren't made in the image of God.
Oh my!
It literally says in Genesis. Like, I read the first 7 or 8 chapters of Genesis this morning again, just because I was bored. All right, it literally says in His image.
No, but you don't understand.
In my image, actually, because it was God talking.
But you don't understand. It's people don't actually look like God. And you know, somehow, you know, the medievals and the 4th century Christians like corrupted the Bible and mistranslated Genesis 1:26, you know, and God finally revealed it to me after all of these years. And so, like, you have to believe the King James, but you can't actually believe what the King James says in Genesis 1:26. You know, you just got to trust me. You got to trust me. We're not made in the image of God. Trust me.
I can refute all of that in one statement. You ready?
Right, because the best source.
False.
Because the best
Boom.
source.
Listen, just because somebody can't get a girlfriend or a boyfriend doesn't mean they're not made in the image of God.
Amen.
Not for everybody.
Trust me, bro. I'm legit.
Sorry.
I'm higher than Mitch, bro.
Way to call yourself out.
Well, obviously you're legit. Look at your glasses, man. You got like this is legitness, man.
And I know she means me because all of you are not showing your faces.
Well, if I show my face, TikTok's gonna ban me right now. So
Right.
Can you blame them? The
Why would
reformed
they
beard,
ban your
yes.
face?
And my hair
would they
is
ban your
terrible
face?
today.
I am a beautiful human being in the eyes
Uh-oh.
of God. So
Did I freeze or
fuck
did you
off,
freeze?
sir.
He's like, excuse me, I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
Exactly. Jeremiah's got it right.
Did I freeze?
I don't even know how to show my camera. How do I turn my camera on? Oh. Wait, can I click that? I can hide.
There you are. Hi.
Yes. Am I wearing Gryffindor colors? If I'm not, I'm going to be mad. I don't think I am.
Well, technically, you're wearing
crappy
Hufflepuff colors.
There we go.
It's yellow and black. Hey, wait,
Hang
rude.
It's amazing
Rude.
that without the host. Oh, we're doing hats now? Oh, I got this.
I mean, I just took mine off, but I guess.
Oh, Blake's about to own us with the hat.
You know he is.
Oh
you know
my
he
gosh,
is.
I hate you out of pure jealousy. That's an amazing hat.
Yes.
Oh wait, I got something better. Don't look at my room.
Perhaps it is time for me to read some proverbs.
You know, it is
Blake,
about.
you gotta,
I mean, like,
you need a pipe. You need like.
Oh, do I?
Pipe.
Do I need a pipe?
Yep.
Is that what you're asking
Gotta
for?
wait, you're gonna
gotta light
get
the pipe.
muted again.
Oh, but not if I don't light it. Do I need a pipe?
Get your
Close enough
holy
says
crack
TikTok.
pipe.
Do I need a pipe?
Oh gosh.
Do I need a pipe?
You know what? My girlfriend finally made. Well, my girlfriend made me a wand for like our first anniversary. No, it wasn't our anniversary. It was my first Christmas present, and I'm kicking myself because I've been looking at the sound for so long, and I wanted to figure out what I would do to use it, and now I have an idea.
Have you seen the one where a guy takes a tiny one and then he does the next one and it's a slightly larger stick?
Yes.
And his voice gets deeper and deeper and deeper until he has this big log. It's like, it's so great.
So good.
Wow, I need to wash this pipe. It kind of smells like tobacco.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
It's actually better.
He actually got his video on Jacksepticeye.
I know who you're talking about, Blake. That's that's DJ Hunt's official.
Yes.
I follow him.
Same. I wish you would follow me.
Are we showing off stuff now? I can't show off blades on TikTok, can I? I'm gonna get banned if I do.
Yeah, we'd get banned if we showed our really fun stuff.
Hoorah!
Show you a dragon.
Hoorah!
No, actually, that's
Emily,
that's the thing. Actually,
the panda
hat.
Cool
Actually
hat
been a lot
and all,
better
right?
at.
But do you have a Gandalf gnome?
I don't even know why you're showing me all of that because you were sitting right behind the actual fun thing, the panda hat.
I want to sit him on my shoulder. That's not gonna work.
I'll just beg Jeremiah for 6 months to befriend me now. Rude. Hey, it's a Durgan.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Jeremiah, like this is like the fifth live that you and I.
But I do have a gnome,
together, and you still haven't followed me back.
Well, I have a gnome with a Star Wars hat.
Well, I've been busy.
We have gnomes.
He's the gnome.
We're gnome buddies.
I'm a gnome.
Old school boba.
It's a gnome.
No, you want old school boba? You gotta go with the original concept drawing.
He's got stuff in his beard.
We're not talking about fancy Asian drinks, okay?
What? Fancy Asian drinks?
You said boba.
Oh, I've never had it. Is it good?
My girlfriend.
Is boba an Asian?
Apparently,
it looked weird. I'm like, what are those things?
Yeah.
Are they ice?
Are
they gummy?
Boba, tapioca.
It's tapioca.
Isn't that pudding?
Going to go get some next weekend.
It's like a noodle.
It's like a noodle?
It's not like
It's
a
a
noodle.
pasta.
You know what I like in my tea?
It's not
I like
pasta.
noodles.
It's a dessert.
Pasta's good.
You're a
Earl Grey with noodles.
Pasta.
It's like a sweet noodle.
delicious.
How else?
I'll be back.
I'm gonna go to Starbucks and give me some noodles with my coffee.
Yes, can I have the egg white and noodle sandwich toasted? Lord.
Yo, don't knock noodles.
Let me have
and
the
bread
noodle
going
chocolate croissant.
Just put a tea bag in a cup of ramen.
I'm gonna go to Taco Bell and get me some Baja Blast.
I'm gonna go to Taco
Baja
Bell and
noodles.
give me a ball.
Dang it, Bobby! I tell you what,
I tell you,
they were all out of the
What?
slushy, and I was upset.
Bobby,
Made me want to punch a kid.
Dad.
Oh,
Tapioca is a rice.
Tapioca.
Okay, you ready? Are you ready for this
No,
one?
tapioca's a pasta. Now you can
why
see my
are you
beautiful
showing
face.
off all this cool stuff and making me feel more poor?
Give me.
I made this one.
I made it
You
myself.
made it?
I made this.
Ooh,
I'm a magician. I'm a
That-
wizard.
that reminds me.
You're a
There's
Wizard Harry.
You're a wizard,
Can I say
Harry.
your style is impeccable, by the way? I like your hat.
Can I join as
Nice
their
hat.
first
This one?
person feature? I wish,
Yeah.
dude. I wish.
Good hat.
Well, I am actually going to go cook some food because I haven't eaten since 11 o'clock. What in the world is wrong
That's a
with
while.
me? It is a while. This is
It's
when
been a
I hate
while
school.
since I ate food that
Oh, crap, my life.
tasted good.
Well, I'm gonna go. I'll see you guys later.
Oh, you're not
later,
going to stay and
Jeremiah.
defend against the trolls and oh, they all left. Aw.
Yeah, they all left when we started annoying them.
Oh, they're doing normal things because they're actual people. Oh well, I guess I'll leave them alone. See you later, bro.
Take care, guys.
You guys want to see something that I've made?
Do I have some noodle
Yes.
tapioca?
Let's
So,
straight. Hey, yeah, you can hop in, buddy.
Let's see if you can. Oh, hello. Let's see if you can guess
Hi,
what
Buck.
this is.
Let the record
Hi, Buck.
show that C Pope and D Pope or whatever, I don't know if you guys had to deal with them, they were trolls that they're jumping about all over the place in all these different Christian
Oh
live
yeah,
streams.
they were over in Melinda's live earlier.
Yeah. So
C-Pope
if they
and
jump,
D-Pope?
yeah, this guy C Pope and D, they're two atheistic brothers, but they act like they're being nice, but they're really Jesus mythicists, and they're like, yeah. So,
Oh,
don't
as
be
in he didn't
surprised.
exist, kind of a thing.
Yeah, and they're
Hey,
they're not actually genuine, which is kind of sad. Alexis was just on there actually, and I was telling them, and they were trying to do the exact same thing.
Alexis?
So
Alexis.
Are you in a
and
can
basketball
ask.
game?
What's
no,
the
I'm
N?
at a gin.
Is
Yeah,
it
he's
Natasha?
at work, where he shouldn't even technically be
Alexis
on
Natasha
TikTok.
Yeah.
on the beach.
Yeah,
Or is it Natalie?
Wait, you're a teacher?
Alexis
But,
Natalie Beach.
Emily,
Nadine.
Like General
What?
Nadine? That is awesome.
Emily, you
Wait,
want a
is
real?
Buck a teacher?
You want
You
a
got
real
20 cool
cowboy
points.
hat?
10 points to Gryffindor.
If I wasn't Christian, I'd hope.
Dang it, Bobby, we're not in Texas.
Right now.
But
It's
yo,
got chicken legs.
can you guess what this is?
An ocarina.
I don't know.
Ocarina?
A
Ocarina?
tiny violin.
All
No, I
right, now
don't.
I
you're
have
just
a
being
tiny violin.
now you're just being difficult.
It's a donkey jawbone that you're gonna use.
Y'all
Entire
just
army.
being difficult.
Yeah, you want to see?
Oh,
Okay, all right.
Why is that always funny?
To me.
But-
Oh, is it a
You
Pez
wanna
dispenser?
one-up-
That's a good guess.
Let me one up you with a tiny violin.
That's what it is. It's a Pez dispenser. It's got to be.
No,
You
but
wanna
it's
go
actually
like
funny.
that? Let's
This,
go
so
like
this is
that.
for a school
Let's do it.
project. This is for a school
It's got
project.
chicken
but,
legs.
This? You see
What's
this?
our dat? Oh, it's a tiny
He wants to
violin.
one up me with a hat.
What?
I wish I was at home because I've got something
Is
like
it
that too.
playable?
Okay,
go?
but Emily, did you make that?
No,
Did you make
You know what's? Hey, you know what sound it makes though? It makes
It's got a little bow.
it's not audible to human beings. It makes the same sound that dogs can get. Only dogs can hear.
You start playing.
Yeah, it just summons
No,
some
it's not a
wild.
whistle.
Cotton-Eye Joe.
See, like-
Yeah.
I made it myself.
Cotton Eye Joe. I'm gonna start
Double
playing
and
some
down
bluegrass.
I'm actually
What this
trying to
is-
hold it.
Oh wait, is it one of those like tiny little daggers? Little.
What is it?
It's a knife handle, yes.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
I should do this with the. I should do this.
Is it like retractable?
No. It's
It's
too
a pet,
small
yeah.
for that.
It's a Pez dispenser. I refuse to believe otherwise.
No, this was meant to be a knife.
Is it an
handle
evil
for a
Pez
school
dispenser?
project. This,
I should get back to
So-
work.
yeah,
Should you
probably.
though?
Bob.
Should I though?
Speaking of
I know.
work,
Hey, what's
I'd
up,
like
Dave?
to ask,
How's it going?
Buck, are you a teacher?
Yes.
Of the word.
I'm a teacher
Of,
too.
of the word. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Hi. Yes.
Is it music, right?
Yeah.
Music? Nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I'm a music
Um,
teacher. I'm the one that's the least appreciated. How do you
What is
like
your what do you main?
I need to go.
what I like?
All right, bud. What do you main?
I'm not a gym teacher, no.
Is she a gamer?
You're not
Or am I
What do you teach?
is she a gamer?
She
I
is.
I
teach
couldn't
the
hear
Bible.
What you said.
He does it. He means he's going to be pastoring.
I am so
He's not a
Oh.
school teacher.
I'm not a school teacher, but I do
Oh,
pastor,
he's not a
yes.
school teacher. Okay,
No,
I'm not a school teacher.
But I do
all right?
teach.
Mr.
Where are you at with that, by
Mouth?
the way?
Still waiting to hear back. Right now,
Okay.
we're kind of in the last stretch of figuring out financial stuff and whether it's a, you know. I
Oh,
can
so they
actually
just
move
have to
and
make you the
everything.
final offer, kind of a thing.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's why
Sweet,
I'm like,
dude.
ugh. Than's in the comment, man. Than the
Oh,
other
is he?
day after I
Than?
started doing that, yeah, after we did that live
Sky Fairy.
stream, about furries and whatnot, my video against furries revamped, and now I've got all these furries like blowing up my comments like, you just don't understand who we are, and I'm like, yeah, I do.
Did you watch Crowder today?
You don't like furries.
I did. Yeah.
Did you see the ones from this
Yeah.
morning?
Yeah. Oh, it's
That
so
poor dog.
awful. It's so bad. Like, it was so bad.
Ah, that's
And it's
awesome.
Than's fault. It's all Than's fault. Him and his simping for
I can do
furries.
this. I don't know if that's not nearly as adorable, but
I love
Yeah.
this exploring reality person. I'm the kind of person that just points out the trolls.
Yeah.
Dan's awesome.
He's a great guy.
Cracking me up.
You need to follow him. He's a good brother.
It's because
I'm
of his
gonna-
massive pectoral muscles.
Yeah, you need to follow him so you can understand why he simps for furries. And
Oh, he's not a troll. Okay, all right. Calling us.
yes. And the
Guys,
furry
backs it up
sympathizers.
with
Yes.
he backs it up with
Yes.
philosophy.
I'm gonna
The
go.
war with the
I
furries
gotta
is not over.
head
The
back.
war with the furries is not over.
You
They're
just said
people
furries
too.
are beautiful people.
They are people made in the image of God.
They're
So
people too.
we should love them.
Yeah,
No,
but
they
they're
don't.
not
But
in the
hold
way that
on,
they choose.
hold on.
Yes.
They don't even believe that they're people, though. That's the problem.
Some don't. That's true. Some go all in.
So yes,
I'm
we
not a
love
troll.
We love them.
Does someone actually think he's a real troll?
No, he's
Oh,
not.
he's not a real troll at all.
No.
I thought he was for a second, then I looked at his
Oh,
bio,
no.
I'm like, oh, wow, okay.
No, he literally is a Christian apologist for real.
He just has a
very
closeted.
I
good one.
followed him.
He's closeted about
Okay.
his furry experiences, though. So this is his
I
coming
I
out
would feel
on a
so bad
live
if
stream.
one of my mods was like, get this guy out of here.
Get him out of here! Accidentally gets blocked.
Get out of here. What kind of stuff's going on?
I've done that.
here?
I've done that with like Andrew's lives
Come on.
sometime. We'll hop on and just like, let me give you a Trinity analogy or something like that.
Hey,
And then
I'm gonna
I'll
have to
just
didn't
split
you say
you
you
off
have
1
to
minute.
go?
We'll see ya.
Like, you're in
because-
timeout.
I have to go. Okay. God.
He says I'm not closeted about my furry stuff.
See ya.
He just keeps all his suits in the closet, not
I
his
respect
furry
your honesty, sir.
But so this is a knife handle with my face as the pommel.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. It kind of looks like William Shatner a little bit.
Why?
Blake, stop it.
I don't
I had to use a
understand.
Shatner reference.
What is the
I
thought
don't
process?
understand why
Okay,
you
okay.
have
I-
this
Allow me to
picture of me
explain.
on your
So
knife handle.
I have. Is it a gift or did you make it yourself for you?
I made it myself, and there is a reason why. Allow me to explain. So,
I'm done.
this is for a school project in my Art 113 class, which is 3D design. We had to make a hybrid object
Nice.
with our head as part of the hybrid object. That is one half of the assignment. The other half of the assignment is that we had to make plaster castings of some of our fingers. And with that, I am going to make a plaster and epoxy clay knife blade. So that way, when the full-size version of this is finished printing,
It's like Reese
I will
Witherspoon.
be able to combine the two projects to make a cosplay knife.
Let me in so I can preach.
Now, I don't
from
know
the
why
book
you
for
wouldn't
it.
have
So you're a
done
Mormon.
the sword of Jon Snow.
Oh,
Oh, the
y'all
Book
wanna
of Furry?
see my favorite sword?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Book of Furry.
That's
he's
my
definitely
favorite
Mormon.
Gnostic
Let me
book.
let me share with you a passage from the Book of Furry, guys.
Oh,
This is
no.
Ferocians. This is
The Book of
Ferocians.
Furry, aka the
This
Book
is
of Mormon.
Ferocians 16:2.
The Ferocity. I'm just
Right,
picturing
ready?
you as like a big Pikachu right now, just so you know. Pika.
I'm imagining a
Hold on.
wolf.
I need to say this with a straight face.
dog
Give me a
thing.
second.
My second favorite Catholic.
Do not intertwine tails if you are both males.
Hey, look.
Oh no!
For those of you who don't believe that pineapple on pizza is based, I'm gonna hit you with this. In the book of Pizzaopolis, chapter 1, verse 23, it says, "Pineapple on pizza was given to us by the Lord." I'm just
The
saying.
Book of Pizzaopolis, sir.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone is going to get that reference because Jeremiah's not here. Do you know that story? The Book of Nicodemus,
Pizza Angel
sir?
is not going to come to you. If you order pineapple on your pizza,
The Pizza Angel?
is not going to bring to your house.
But this is my favorite sword that I have. I have the Master Sword. So
I'm trying
I can
to think
smite
of something
all
to troll with, and I can't think of anything.
Why?
I have
Because it's that cool?
I got nothing.
You can't.
I really
troll this
just
because
can't,
it's just
though,
too
because
cool.
I actually like it. I
See,
actually
well,
like it,
the
so
thing
I
is,
like
can't.
it's only
that.
fun to troll. It's only fun to troll like your guys' live streams because it's so funny because you guys know who I am, so it's so funny because other people don't know.
The Book of Rules.
And then watching your reactions as other people start taking what I'm saying very seriously is so funny.
Hey.
Pizza
Lexi,
plus, is that a pill equals trash?
Release the Book
Just
of
kidding.
Rolology, I will give you a standing ovation.
But hey, at least
I'm
you
still
won't
calling
fall
that the
over.
Buster Sword.
So I actually have an argument against God's existence from pizza.
Do you
Thank
now?
you for the rose.
From pizza? Oh gosh.
Yeah, so just hear me out. So given like perfect being theism, right? We would have to make some predictions based off this thesis of like perfect being theism, which is what Christian theism is, right? And so one of these predictions that you would make from God's existence is the negation of the allowance of particularly horrendous evils, right? Like evils that would just be so horrendous that there would be no like countervailing good that comes about from these evils, right? So some of us might think
I love where this is going.
Some of us might think things like genocide and murder are these particularly horrendous evils. No, I think things. I think human depravity goes even a step beyond that. And this is where we find some of the most depraved human action, probably the most depraved human action out there. And that's these people that put pineapple on pizza. And so I think that the existence of pineapple on pizza is in direct conflict with this thesis of God's existence. And so if you want to affirm the existence of both God and pineapple on pizza, I think you're at a logical contradiction, which we all know is impossible.
I really wish Logan was here.
And so
I really wish
the
Logan
two
was here.
propositions you have to affirm in order to say that God exists and pineapple on pizza exists is that particularly horrendous evils exist and God exists. And I think those two are logically contradictory.
Wow. So what happens if you were to order a pizza and you were to say, "Can you write Yahweh in pineapple on my pizza?" What would happen? Would the world explode?
No, I would just I would just assign that to human coincidence.
Ah. Right. That was very good, sir.
Sorry.
Very good.
Do you like how I turned on my philosopher mode, but like I actually really didn't.
It was great.
No, it doesn't.
It was well delivered.
Pizza, heresy.
Alexis, you heard the very end of that, but he gave us a very well-spoken proof of that God does not exist because of the evils existing of pineapple on pizza. And I'm going to have to reconsider my eschatology at this point, because I thought that Nero Caesar was bad, but now I know it can get worse.
666 actually has to deal with pineapple on pizza. So
we think it's the Jewish gematria, but
to give you context to the furry conversation,
Lexi, oh my god.
Big John Steele and I were fake debating, and I was giving an argument from evil against God's existence, and I used a really similar argument to what I did there, but instead of pineapple on pizza, it was an argument from furries existing.
Did I shut you down? I'm sorry.
What happened?
Oh, I thought I accidentally shut you down. I'm supposed to do the laugh. Yeah, I suppose. It's funny. Everybody says I look like Seth Rogen. I've been called worse. Is it the beard?
I mean, it's a compliment.
It's a reformed beard.
All right, guys. I'm just getting home. I'm going to catch you guys all later.
All right, peace out. Just come in, drop a knowledge bomb, and
later.
Bye.
He's going back to his furry collection. He's got to go play dress up.
Hey, Kristen's on. Hello, Kristen.
Oh my gosh.
All the people that now he's in his cosplay. I don't have it anymore.
Actually, do I look like the country bumpkin now because you look cool.
I always look cool. What are you talking about?
I don't have it anymore. I did have a full body Cable cosplay, but I don't have it anymore. I think it's stored away somewhere. It's pretty cool. Metal arm and everything.
You're making me want to get my cloak now.
I don't have
it. It was the best thing ever. You had me rolling. No pun intended. Yeah.
You had me rolling. I'd rather look like Ryan Reynolds. Would you rather look like Ryan Reynolds?
Well, okay, so which is scarier? Assassin.
is dreaming.
Or...
Oh, man. You know who else was a Christian assassin?
Saul. You already said that. Assassin or Kotsky? Which is scarier? Legitimately, like which is scarier, the Akatsuki or the Assassin's Brotherhood? I want your actual opinions.
Show me the other one again.
The Akatsuki from Naruto.
I don't know what that means.
You've never seen Naruto?
I can't keep a straight face.
I
I stopped. I couldn't. There were so many. I looked at the episode list and I'm like, I can't.
Oh,
I've seen all of
Wonder
Dragon
Woman,
Ball.
that looks pretty cool.
I've seen all of Star Trek.
but,
There's so much.
But you can watch. Lexi, you actually think I'm scary?
That, but I didn't want to be mean.
Me? No.
You meant that as an insult.
Lexi and I both think that you just as
Me?
is convincing enough. Assassin.
Oh.
You as you. Convincing enough.
But you have to say it like this, assassin. I lied, not Seth Rogen. No, I'm definitely not like Seth Rogen.
No, but I can do it.
I've never watched it, but I like anime art. Well, I have watched
Talk to me like that again. You know what? You make a strong argument.
I can do those too if I want to.
Meanwhile, I'm
no. We don't talk about that guy.
Afraid?
We don't talk about Mark.
If anybody's listening to this in their car and have a subwoofer. Are we doing voices? What voices should we do?
I was doing
Name your best impression and do it.
My best accent is this, my British accent.
Wait, are we talking about accents or impressions? Like characters?
Well, this is an impression of my British accent.
Okay,
this is an impression of a British accent.
You kind of sound like Carrie Elves from that princess movie, with the sword and the.
I do really.
What's that? The little bulb of insanity and like the.
You're talking about.
Yeah, it's the one. Yeah, it's a good one. You're right.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. You're talking about the guy who says,
"As you wish."
He's only mostly dead, not completely dead.
He's only mostly dead. Have fun storming the castle.
Oh, the guy from not Princess Diaries. What am I talking about? Princess Bride. Princess Bride.
Princess Diaries.
No,
that's awesome. Hi everyone, I'm Billy Crystal. I don't know why I'm here. See you later.
Yeah.
The way that I got this accent is
talk about John Nelson Darby.
I watched Harry Potter and I watched The Chronicles of Narnia, and I would just constantly try to quote those movies in a British accent, and it got to the point where I can literally.
Can anyone do Alan Rickman?
But see, here's the thing.
No. That actually sounds a bit like Radcliffe.
To do, like an Australian accent. I've always tried to imitate Viva La Diddley until I figured out that they're not actually Australian. They're from New Zealand. So my accent's.
That's really good. I can't do that one.
But yeah,
I think it's pretty good.
Most of my accent is actually based off of Daniel Radcliffe. So yeah, it's
the most stereotypical
Alan Rickman.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's Harry Potter.
I have to get into the Alan Rickman. I do it okay.
I am the chosen
Scottish,
one.
I have to kind of get into it. I have to think more like.
It's pretty good.
Merida from.
You have to speak through your teeth and drop your voice a little bit and have a slow cadence to how you speak. And sound slightly angry.
There's a meme that I've seen a little bit of recently of Professor McGonagall Professor McGonagall had to teach the Gryffindors how to dance for the Yule Ball, right?
Poor Ron.
Why are you touching my butt?
Which means that Professor Sprout had to do Hufflepuff.
I have been naughty by
had
the
to
Queen.
do Ravenclaw. And Snape had to do Slytherin. Just imagine Professor Snape.
I am not going to teach you how to dance. You will stand in the corner and keep your
so
mouth
the meme actually
Do I make myself clear?
No, the meme actually is.
Say what?
I'm going to bed before either of you do anything else to get us in trouble, or worse, expelled. I forget what
She
it was.
needs to sort out her priorities.
Expelled. Yeah.
Honestly, like the Harry Potter films
Honestly.
the Harry Potter films are easily the best cast book to movie films, with the exception of the second guy they had for Dumbledore. The second guy they had for Dumbledore did not portray Dumbledore properly to the books. And I'm going to refer you to one line.
Lord of the Rings, though.
Harry!
Oh.
Did you? When
Dumbledore asked calmly.
There could not have been another McGonagall.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Maggie Smith.
I hate to say it, but there could have been another Snape.
No.
There could have been another Snape.
No.
Blake, you're no longer friends.
He was wonderful.
No.
Yeah. There's people that could have done well.
No, but
Benedict Cumberbatch,
switching
perhaps.
The genre a little bit, but you guys reminded me of this. Did you guys see where it was talking about, like, Eowyn from Lord of the Rings was like, I don't fear death, like, she's the sword. And Aragorn is like, what do you fear, my lady? And she's like, a cage. And then it pans to a picture of Nick Cage, because he almost was cast as Aragorn.
I'm going to steal the Constitution. I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Steal the Declaration of Independence.
I was then left behind, and I now regret it.
I'm gonna steal the
I was Ghost Rider.
The Declaration of Independence. Yeah.
Okay, let's be honest though. The National Treasure films were probably were really good. They were really
I liked them.
Wasn't he Ghost Rider too?
Yes.
That was like Green
Not
Goblin.
once.
That was like a flop.
He wasn't Ghost Rider not just once.
Twice.
But twice.
Twice? There's two? I only have someone.
I haven't seen either. I've not seen either of them.
The worst book to movie adaptation?
Aragon.
The Hobbit.
Aragon. No.
The Hobbit.
It's Aragon.
No.
Tariel and Tilly never had a relationship.
Tariel isn't even a character
You're right.
in the original book.
Exactly.
You're also right.
But the
dwarves were great.
There's
and
actually
Smaug.
The dwarves were great.
Benedict
Smaug was great. Benedict
amazing.
was like the perfect person. Yeah, it was a good movie. I'm not saying it wasn't a good movie. It was. But we also had a moment of silence right after.
We didn't need Legolas either.
Of that whole romance thing.
Also,
I'm very
I'm sorry.
It had issues, but not the worst. That doesn't deserve to be called the worst, though.
No, it's Aragon. It's Aragon.
I never saw Aragon, and I never read Aragon.
I didn't read that series. I didn't dislike the movie, though, but I don't have a reference.
Good series. I was unfortunate enough to watch the movie and then read the books.
Twilight.
And I regret it.
Books were so amazing. Movies weren't as good. Just kidding.
Okay, so here's the thing.
This wasn't a bad remake. Bridge to Terabithia. Who read that? Who saw the movie? Who cried?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which movie are you talking about? Are you talking about the original one, or are you talking about the Disney one?
I didn't know there were more than one.
There was an original one?
Mm-hmm. One that was made in like 1985.
With the little girl from Willy Wonka?
No, that's the Disney one.
Are you talking about Witch Mountain?
No.
No, Bridge to Terabithia.
Yeah, there's an older Bridge to Terabithia film that I think was made, that I'm pretty sure was made in the 80s.
I don't know.
Huh. I am unaware.
I've seen it. I think that... So, a lot of the older films that I've seen that are book-to-movie adaptations are... a lot of the older versions are better than the newer ones. For example, Chronicles of Narnia, right? The BBC book-to-movie adaptations were far superior to that of the Disney ones because they were more book accurate.
You know what was
Okay, I
really
haven't seen
good?
them.
The Hunger Games.
Lord of the Rings.
I've seen the first.
Hunger
I thought they were all right.
I've seen the first Hunger Games
I
movie.
wish that they'd gone further with the mind stuff, though.
Yeah.
I've never read the Hunger Game books.
They were too okay at the end.
I was addicted to them when I was in high school. I would read them in like 2 days, and that was a lot for me because I hated reading with a passion. Hated it. So for me to go through a book in 2 days, it was like...
You know what they need to make a TV series of? Hardy Boys.
I used to like those.
What is that?
By the way, have you seen my Star Wars wall?
What
Me?
that is?
Zatch. Yes.
That?
Have you seen my Star Wars wall?
That.
Not in its entirety.
Or you could say it with Zah. Zah. It sounds like a Klingon, but he doesn't like
Zah.
Klingons.
Say like Bach. Like Bach.
Zah.
Bach.
Oh, bah.
Zah.
Nah, nah, bah.
Look, I'm not a fan.
Add a little
I'm just
classical
not a
twist on it,
fan
some phlegm.
of.
Wave it back here.
No, I don't think Netflix ever did anything with the Hardy Boys. Labyrinth is a.
So have you seen my Star Wars wall?
I never
No,
saw it.
I don't think so.
Dance, magic, dance. Dance, magic, dance. No? You haven't seen Labyrinth?
No, I have.
You must watch it.
Oh,
Jennifer
you're talking to
Connelly
Emily.
as a young lady. And what's his name? That famous singer
David
guy. I
Bowie.
don't remember his name. He's some famous dude.
David
Yeah,
Bowie.
But see, here's the thing.
Dance, magic,
That a
dance.
lot of people think. This is what turns me away from a lot of movies. Romance between characters. It's for some reason it just irks me.
There wasn't.
Like Hollywood, like Hallmark movies, old Christmas movies where all the characters are. I can't stand it.
Why? Because you're so single?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Like I'm anyone to
Precisely.
talk. I'm single.
You're not wrong.
Where did that anvil come from?
Yeah. At this point, I'm so single and so
Have-
brokenhearted over my singleness that I'm not even hurt anymore. It's just like, yeah, I'm a failure. How you doing? Disappointment of the family. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no.
Lexi, you haven't-
I disagree.
You haven't
kidding.
seen Labyrinth, Lexi?
Slightly.
Also, real quick, I'm going to do a quick plug. If y'all ain't following Rolling with God, please do so. She's a good friend of mine, and we need to get her to 1,000 followers so she can go on live streams with people.
I was gonna pick on you about like plugging somebody, but I
all
endorse
right.
this message. I endorse this message.
I fully endorse this message. So do
And
you want to
watch.
see the
She's
Star Wars
about
wall?
to say, Zachary, stop in 3, 2, 1. Oh, wow. I actually
Stop
got that.
it.
No,
Stop
literally,
it.
like, every
Stop.
time I
Don't
have hyped her
talk.
up, she's just like, stop.
She
Why not
said
me?
thanks.
I followed
Yeah,
her
I
too.
know. And it's
Let's see. Unfollow.
You've changed things up, Lexi. You've changed things up. And I am a creature of habit. I don't like change that much.
You're a creature, all right.
Shut up, Emily.
That was smooth. Credit where credit is due.
Love you, Zach.
That was a very like Captain Mal kind of a move. I swear by my pretty
I see
floral
guys
bonnet.
doing that all the time, but I don't understand it. They go like this and then just flick their hat. I don't understand it. But I have a bald eagle because I'm American.
Pulling it down and popping it back up.
Yeah.
What's that show? Peacemaker? Probably.
Oh,
Wait a minute,
yeah.
miracle worker, promise keep. I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
I quit
Peacemaker
watching the Batman
is...
for this, and it is worth it. It was
the
weird.
character of Peacemaker is interesting, to say the least. Can
we put that in quotation marks? And can we give it an interesting accent? Perhaps a Sean Connery kind of vibe. No.
Sean Connery.
Is he dead yet? He's not dead yet, is he? Did he die?
He is. Yeah,
Is
he
James
died.
Bond dead?
He died
Did he
last
die?
year. He died last year.
Did he? Seriously?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Didn't know that. Alexis,
Sean Connery
can you
dead?
Google this for me? Did Sean Connery die?
Yeah, Sean
Or
Connery
is
did.
someone lying to me named Zach? Oh.
Zach.
I'd have liked to see him play Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I feel like I could totally sing the Water Buffalo song with his hat.
Everybody got a water buffalo.
You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah.
He died in 2020.
Oh, it's 2020. Okay. I was wrong.
Moss Eisley Spaceport. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
No, I
We must
think
be
that
cautious.
I think Alec Guinness was better at Obi-Wan.
Oh, I wouldn't have replaced him. I just think it would have been entertaining to hear some of those lines. Hello there.
No, but
Come
Gilbert
here,
Little
Gottfried.
friend, don't be afraid.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Don't be afraid.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh,
Everybody's doing his voice now. I didn't even realize he was a character until he died.
yeah,
Never
no.
That wasn't his real
watched
voice.
Aladdin.
I never knew that.
Obsessed with Aladdin. I actually talked to my sister the other day. She's like, yeah, you watched Aladdin like daily. And she was like, it made me mad all the time. But I loved Iago. Ugh, the parrot. The celebrity death that hit you the most, Robin Williams.
Oh, that's a good one. I was gonna say
That was tragic.
Chadwick Boseman.
Chris
Or Michael
Cornell,
Jackson.
another one.
I'm saying Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, I was about to say, what's the guy that played Black Panther?
Because
Chadwick.
not only was he was pretty young for one, for an actor.
Wasn't he like in his 30s?
Early 30s.
Late 30s, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also he played T'Challa so well and accurately to the comics.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did.
Okay, yeah, Cameron Boyce. Yeah,
They won't
I'm a
replace
fan.
him either.
No, they won't.
Who's that? I don't
I'm
know who
so
that is.
sorry.
Disney's
to
even
ask this, but
Disney's.
who's Cameron Boyce?
Have y'all seen Descendants?
Is that the Disney show?
The Disney.
I'm not being
movies.
coy. I actually don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a
I don't
Disney
either.
set.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a set
like the
Disney
villain's
movie.
kids. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he plays Cruella de Vil's kid.
Oh. How'd he pass away?
Some form of cancer. I don't remember which one it was. And it actually it ended up hitting the cast pretty hard too.
I bet.
Because they
No, but I wonder, okay,
That's sad.
speaking of things hitting a cast, like, I wonder whatever happened with the Alec Baldwin situation.
Still being
no,
investigated from what I know.
he wasn't charged.
I mean, I don't guess, but
Yeah.
did he still continue with the film? I wonder. I don't know. I never kept up.
No, I doubt it.
Called Jesse? I never saw a show.
Also,
Yeah, I'm
called
not familiar
Jesse.
with those.
Also, apparently, Alec Baldwin's having a 7th kid. And someone made the joke of Alec Baldwin never shoots blanks.
Moment of silence.
Okay.
Not a Christian!
It wouldn't have gone much longer before I went flat. What is happening?
No.
Not touching that.
I would have turned into Carl Weezer. Yeah, just one more. Just one more.
That one Irish dude. I can't do Irish. I really wish I could. I can do Scottish.
Top of the morning.
But I can't do Irish. Why?
Maybe you can quote word for word.
It's
Probably
not bad.
Monty Python
That's
is
not
quote
bad at all.
Holy Grail.
What fictional character death? Ooh, Wash is a good one. Let's see. Spock was a good one. In the books, Chewie was a good one, but that's not canon anymore.
I was so
He got
mad
crushed
at
by a moon.
Lucasfilm.
The lady,
I was
wait,
so
the
mad at
lady
Lucasfilm for that.
What was Thanos' daughter?
Gamora.
Gamora. Yeah.
See, that didn't hit me that hard because at the time I had never watched the Guardians movies. When I watched
Chewbacca's not dead now. It's not canon anymore.
Yeah.
During the New Jedi Order series, the Yuuzhan Vong threw a moon at a planet, and he was bodily throwing people into the Millennium Falcon to save them.
Wait, I got it.
And the moon
I was stupid.
hit him.
Not Gamora. Screw Gamora. I've got it. Boromir.
No, that didn't even hit me hard.
It's good.
I hated him.
What?
I hated Boromir.
Are you even human?
Yes.
Why was that so like ooh adorable? Are you even human? I don't know.
Like you say ooh.
Sorry if that scared anybody. It probably did. Like suddenly all of the viewers are like one. I sure hope that nobody was screen recording that. It's like, I have Blake right where I want him now. He will never escape me.
He's not a Christian.
I'm just gonna go ahead and get myself banned on purpose now.
Lexi, this is gonna resonate with you. This is gonna resonate with you.
Where's
Lexi.
Steven? Yes, his pipe. We can both do the same thing.
This one's gonna resonate with you, Lexi. Beckendorf. If you know, you know. Beckendorf. That one hit me a little hard.
Ganondorf?
Nope, Beckendorf.
Beckendorf? Who the heck is Beckendorf?
Speckensdorf.
If you have read the Percy Jackson series, you know.
That sounds like a prescription medication for diarrhea. Beckendorf.
If you have psoriasis, try Speckensdorf. It's the best on the market for moderate to severe psoriasis. Complications include death, painful urination.
Wait, what? What did I miss? I was focusing on
Speckensdorf. Speckensdorf.
Oh,
that should be our greeting
Lexi.
from now on.
Lexi, Leo.
Beckendorf. You know what?
Education.
My eagle actually needs a name. I'm naming him Beckendorf. This is Beckendorf now. It's a wonderful name.
Boromir the Mighty Eagle. Oh, I have a better one than that. Let me look up what it is.
Girl, I got 2 degrees. I don't need any more education. I'm tired
of
education.
Hi. Lexi. You're probably going to hate me for this one. Bianca.
Oh, yeah, that Bianca. She dead. I don't even know who Bianca is, but some dead woman.
Child, actually. She was a child.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hate on the kids. God bless the kids.
Why here?
I feel like I'm being so disrespectful.
Who?
Gwaihir, the Lord of the Wind. Gwaihir, the Lord of the Wind.
What did he eat too much cheese?
Isn't that how you say it?
Lactose intolerant? Why is he Lord of the Wind?
Gwaihir.
Lord of the Wind or Lord of the Brink of the Wind?
That's what it...
Is he a Beckendorf of the wind?
Not that kind of wind. Not breaking wind. Dispersing the wind with his mighty wings.
Would break wind is if he cut He cuts the wind. He breaks the wind.
By the
if he
way,
cuts- he
they
breaks the
missed
wind
an
if he cuts the
opportunity.
trees.
They missed an opportunity in The Hobbit. When the eagles flew over the army, they should have dropped like all over little white droplets of death.
It wouldn't be so regal, right? Don't want them,
That's
pecking
true.
and spreading.
It's like,
They're
I
not
don't think they're
pigeons.
cool anymore.
Everywhere.
Blake, they're
That's
not
gonna
pigeons.
be my new swear. Son of a
The pigeons
Beckendorf.
have arrived to save us.
That's a Christian cuss word. Listen,
Speckensdorf.
that's a Christian cuss word. Son of a Beckendorf. There you go.
Dang it, Bobby.
Lexi,
Gandalf,
right?
the first time I read Fellowship.
Right. What is wrong with my hair? It's fine.
Should I start reading Proverbs for you?
Gosh.
Ooh, you guys want a
Beautiful
fun?
ring, snout of a
You guys
pig.
want a fun
So is a
translation
woman
to read?
without discretion.
You guys
Don't
want
say
a
the
fun
Passion.
translation to read?
Don't say the Queen
Don't
James.
say the King. Don't say the King James.
Don't say the Message.
Nope.
Dude, we just said that at the same time. Yeah.
The Hawaiian
Not
Pigeon
the
Bible.
King James, please.
Oh, that is legit though. I've heard of that one. Yeah.
The Hawaiian Pigeon Bible is based.
I'm sorry, did you say Pigeon Bible?
Yeah, that's actually a dialect. It's legitimately a dialect.
What kind of is this?
Mm-hmm.
What the
That's
smell?
a whole different kind of
Dang it,
sowing
Bobby, you're
seeds
making
right
that up.
there.
All right.
Bobby.
All right. Time for a little
Ooh,
Bible
Buffy, that's a
education
good
for
one.
you guys. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about.
I'm scared. I don't know what you're talking about. Half the time.
So I'm just going to go ahead and list off the names of the Bible as stated in this translation. Start.
Oh no.
Out of Egypt. Preces. Census. Rules second time. Joshua. Local leaders.
Second time.
Joshua.
Is that Deuteronomy? Was that Deuteronomy? Deuteronomy was rules second time? Bruh. That's pretty
But
funny.
wait,
Is Isaiah fifth gospel?
Joshua.
I would love that, actually. But wait,
no,
there's
it's
more.
not. It's just Isaiah. The ones that are names of people are still just names of people.
Okay.
But
what about Song of Solomon?
I'm gonna get there. We'll get there.
Ow, ow.
I'm excited for that.
That's what that one's called.
Local leaders.
Judges. Judges? Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Ruth, 1st, 2nd Samuel, 1st, 2nd Kings. 1st and 2nd Records.
Chronicles.
Yep. Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job. Songs.
Yeah. Psalms.
Yep. Smart guys.
Smart guy.
Sorry, what was that?
Smart guys. For Proverbs.
Proverbs, my favorite book.
You need... Okay.
I've done 112, I think.
Blake,
112
now
videos.
You need to do...
that were all flagged for copyright infringement.
What you got to do is you got to do a series of Gandalf reading Smart Guys from the Hawaiian Pigeon.
You know what? I played with the idea of really working on my Alan Rickman and having Snape read Ecclesiastes. Meaningless, it's old.
Speaking of, teacher.
I think that'd be pretty funny. Teacher.
Love song.
Oh, is that it?
Selena
Just
Gomez.
love song?
Yeah.
It could have been so much more.
It really could have.
I'm slightly disappointed.
Isaiah,
Leaders is pretty good, though.
Jeremiah, sad song.
Sad. Oh, Ecclesiastes.
Job.
No, Lamentations.
Ecclesiastes. Oh, Lamentations. Gotcha.
Teacher is Ecclesiastes.
That would be good with Snape too. Teach us.
No, just teacher.
Teacher. My bad.
Right, because it's Solomon teaching his son to be better than he was.
I didn't even know that this version existed until 5 minutes ago.
Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea.
How do you make
Joel,
your embouchure
Amos,
small enough for a
Obadiah.
pipe?
How do you what?
I don't know.
How do you make
Flutter
your
tongue.
embouchure
Try
small
flutter
enough for a
tongue.
pipe?
Try flutter
So,
tongue.
Nah.
we go through the rest of the prophets. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Jesus, guys. Rome.
It's accurate.
Rome. For Romans.
Why why not Romans?
First and
Because
second
then it's
Corinth.
not for women.
First and second
Not for
Corinth.
women.
Romans. Ain't no girls talking about you.
So there's first and second Corinth.
Corinth.
Galatia. Ephesus. Galatia, Ephesus, Philippi, Colossae. First and second Thessalonica.
Tesla?
Tesla?
No. First and second Thessalonica.
Thessalonica.
First and
Calling
second
it
Timothy.
Tesla.
Elon Musk.
Hold on. First and second Timothy.
Who has perfect pitch? What note was that? Timothy?
No, dear. No
F
idea.
natural.
Do you have perfect pitch too? Now I know 3 people on TikTok with perfect pitch, and it makes me sad. I'm a drummer, so I have no hope.
Same. We all know that percussion has the most important. Everyone knows that percussion has the most important job because we set the rhythm. End of story.
B flat, A flat.
Amen. Was it?
That was a
That was
bass
like
note.
B flat
That-
I'm having fun. Where's Andrew too?
But so
It was something funny, Andrew. I did a note, and I thought he said D flat, and I said no, it's a D. Or I thought he said D flat. He'd actually said E flat. And I'm like, no, it's a D sharp. You were close though, and he was like, bruh.
In
So
harmonics.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say the name for Revelation.
No. Oh no.
So
History.
for Revelation,
Except
No.
for the end.
no, Jesus show.
What? Good. I like that. That's very good.
Now,
Because it is. It's his revelation.
You're not wrong.
The
But
big
I am going to
production.
read Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 and 2. Which the name of the section
Oh, it smells so good.
is God Make the World.
I'm scared.
The time when
You
everything
must be
when
the
starts.
man that came out of this translation of the Bible.
The
Man
time
born,
when
man speak, man do.
the time when everything when start, God make the sky and the world. The world comes
What,
so
TJ?
no mode.
Very key.
The world comes so no mo nothing inside. No mo shape nothing. On top the wild ocean that cover everything, never had light nothing. Only had God's spirit there moving around over the water.
Over the water. Yeah, it sounded like Canadian. Over the
I don't think that James White's going to be able to use this in a debate.
I legitimately want to see someone.
What's the translation of the word Bereshit?
Pharisee?
No, Bereshit.
Where do I find
In
it?
a beginning, when God began to give purpose to the heavens and the earth. Ooh.
But was a day, or was a day 1,000 years?
I don't know.
In my personal belief in
it's
reading
Elizabeth.
the scriptures.
Hello, Elizabeth. We're talking in accents today. What was
in
that?
In my personal belief, in the way that the script, in the way that the book was written, when it says, "And there was evening and there was morning the second day," it means exactly that. It is like Hebrew is a very literal language.
Is it though?
I mean, if Stephen were
someone
here,
needs to listen to some Michael Heise.
If Stephen were here, he would be able to help.
I've heard both sides of this. I don't take a stance anymore on old Earth or young Earth because I was convinced that there is a very legitimate exegesis of Genesis 1 solely based on scripture alone that gives credence to possibly an old Earth. I like how suddenly she became just a red tomato with a hat.
Not just any red tomato.
That's pretty legit. I'm a cowboy. I've
never done that before.
Are you trying to do Gollum?
Suddenly a woman grew out of my head.
Why are you trying to do Gollum? Zach and Blake being serious. Emily plays with Bob and Larry.
It's me.
If you like to talk about Jesus.
Look how flat my hair is now.
Yeah, see, that's why I like being with guys. You don't have to worry about whether or not your hair is in a good place.
Show off.
Hey, I'm just saying it as it is.
Oh weird.
Yeah.
My hat's cool.
So, you guys want to know an interesting username that I've come across over the last week? Be prepared to cringe. I want to point out. Be prepared to cringe heavily.
I don't know what that looks like.
The username was Kinky Pastor.
Brandon Robertson. I'm sorry.
That was my thoughts.
It just came out, I don't know.
I have this.
I love it.
I broke his hand.
I can see that.
One there.
His hand.
I mean, Elizabeth, if that's what he is into, if that's what he is into, that's what he is into. But like, don't put that in your username.
What in the heresy are you talking about? Yeah, no, pastor shepherding people with kink? Yeah, it's your mind?
Also,
dang it, Brandon.
Are you sure that that's not a certain type of angel?
It's pretty dope.
Emily, are you certain that's not a certain type of angel?
What do you mean, certain type of angel? It's
a weeping
angel.
one?
It's talking about the armor of God.
Don't blink.
Yep.
It's talking about the armor of God.
Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
Well, it's either she goes cross-eyed or she rolls her eyes so hard.
Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
She either goes cross-eyed or
what
she
if they got
rolls
stuck
her
like
eyes
that?
so hard that they pop out.
Okay, kids, we're going to talk about music today. I think that's happened.
Yeah, probably. No, I just make my kids cringe out of
this
pure
is an
awkward.
A sharp. I mean a B flat. I mean an A sharp. I mean a B flat. I mean an A sharp. I need a B flat.
If I wasn't Christian, I would hold up a very specific finger right now and aim it in your direction.
No, me? This one or that one? That one? That one. This one? That one? Ooh.
She would point it at the crayon eater.
Oh, it's that one. It's just a pinky. Not to be afraid, it's just a pinky. It's not the mightiest of fingers.
Oh,
highly effective sometimes.
So for a D&D campaign that Steven is running, I've actually
What? Oh my god.
I built
This
a
is
new
fun.
character recently for a campaign that I'm gonna be in with Steven.
An evil character?
No, actually, a good character. I built an assassin.
An evil assassin?
No.
An evil brotherhood?
A Christian assassin.
Actually, yes. So his campaign is actually built. His campaign is based off of the Reformation.
Ooh.
The Reformation and the Spanish Inquisition.
So instead of hammering the 95 Thesis, it's a throwing knife. Take that, Rome.
So my assassin's name is Garrett.
That's how I imagine Luther.
My
Garrett, not Geralt. Got it.
Yeah,
yep.
It's Garrett Arton. He is a rogue and the assassin archetype because that was easy enough to do.
Okay.
And so I have the Hidden Blade, which is a 1d6 plus 2 damage, piercing. A Scimitar, which is 1d6 plus 2 slashing. A Rapier, which is 1d8 plus 2 with piercing. Short bow, and then 2 daggers. When I reach level 5, I will gain a set of robes that dramatically increase my stealth in...
Sorry, coffee fit.
No, neither of us were Navy, Blake. Neither of us were Navy. We're not Spike, okay? We're not Spike.
Spike's great.
Yeah, except for the fact that he joined the Navy.
He makes me giggle. What? What'd you say? Except the Navy.
I said except for the fact that he joined the Navy.
He was a coalman. Wasn't he a coalman?
Yeah, he was.
Shaved lives. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, but he was still Navy, and we all know the Navy's gay.
Too.
We all know that the Navy's gay.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Dude, it's a joke about the Navy, just like crayon eaters for the Marine Corps. Even though the Marine Corps started that joke.
What's your favorite crayon flavor?
I was Army.
Great.
I was Army.
Oh, you don't like crayons then?
No, I eat real food.
That's a shame.
I like Play-Doh.
Salty.
You know what? That's actually the new joke for the Space Force. That's the new joke for the Space Force. They eat Play-Doh because they're the babies, and babies play with Play-Doh.
The Navy are the babies, then come the Air Force.
I majored in Play-Doh.
No. The reason why I say Space Force...
Play dog.
The reason why I say Space Force is the baby is because they are quite literally the youngest branch of the military.
Listen, we're not talking specific.
And the Air Force is like, yay.
I know. No, actually, technically... Well, so before Space Force, actually, the baby was considered to be Coast Guard.
I want to see the baby.
He made me in his own image.
I'd like to see the baby.
I have my doubts.
Okay, let's be honest, though. The Mandalorian Season 1 was based as all get out.
Never watched it, never cared. Still don't care to watch it.
And then?
And then Season 2 happened.
It's so good. What is wrong with you, bro?
Okay, here's why I don't like Season 2. Season 2 was literally just backdoor pilots to the rest of the TV shows that Disney Plus is doing for Star Wars. And the story didn't really go anywhere because of it.
Lies. You out your mind. Filoni is the only thing good in Star Wars right now.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I love Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau because they are trying to retcon the prequel.
Voice go that high.
They are trying to retcon
Me?
the sequel trilogy.
No, Zach.
I can go lower if you like.
Zach.
Oh.
No, it's not what I meant. It's not what
So
I meant.
Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are trying so hard to retcon the sequel trilogy. Like, that is what they are trying to do with the stuff that they are doing right now.
I also enjoy the sounds of a mandolin. Lexi. She said.
Oh, I disagree. I liked Boba as well. It wasn't as
Boba
good.
Fett was a good show.
Although I didn't need the Power Ranger.
I think that Book of Boba Fett could have been better. It could have been written better, for one.
Need to be longer.
It definitely needed to be longer. I felt like they were trying to do too much with too little.
We're putting Emily to sleep now.
They were trying to do too much. They were trying to do too much with too little.
Why did I give her that accent? It's not how she sounds at all.
Who knows?
You think that's
I'll try
my
again.
accent?
Hi, my name's Emily.
Oh my god.
Let's try and knock the fire. Hi, my name is Emily.
I talk like Nicolas Cage. We're gonna steal the
I can
next.
hold the edge of my hat.
She's like, I am being embarrassed by these two weirdos right now.
Is that a
Only one
Triforce?
weirdo.
No, this is the... I already told you this, Blake.
I know.
Punk.
Sometimes.
Takes one to know one.
It almost looked like the inverted filter.
And Emily, you're not wrong.
I hated the inverted filter. If anything ruined my self-confidence, what little I had, it was the inverted filter. Ugh. Terrifying. I apologize.
I have one smirk side and one not so smirk side.
Yeah.
It goes like this.
Have you ever noticed
when I do
your
it?
eyes looks evil resting and the other one looks like sad?
So I am convinced that going back to what Alexi just said,
That's
in
the
that
sad one.
Boba Fett turned into Mandalorian season 3. Number one, I don't think you're wrong. But also, regarding Luke in the series, I hated that. I hated that. Because Luke understands the value of connections and having attachments.
You are thinking of old canon Luke.
No, I'm thinking
yes.
Canon Luke. And here's why. Allow me to explain. His attachment to his friends is what makes him powerful. And he understands that. Otherwise, he would have taken Ben
sure?
as a young child and not as an adult.
Why do you think he didn't take him as a child?
Because if he had been taken as a child, then he wouldn't have been a student as an adult. He would have been a fully fledged Jedi Knight.
How do you know that he wasn't?
Because he said, he and 12 other of my students destroyed the rest of the temple and killed everyone else. That
I don't think he was a student at that time.
implies that Ben was still a student of Luke's and not a Jedi Knight.
I think Ben's alive right now during the events of The Mandalorian. Ben's alive.
As a young child, I would agree with you. Because the New Republic is still
Good
just
job,
that.
Ellie Bears. Yes, you recognized it. Good job.
But
That's also I gained that also from Tactics. If you haven't read Tactics, great book.
I don't
Where is
think that
Where is it?
what
There it is.
Luke did with Grogu was right.
We done put her to sleep. She's snoring back there. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 ooh, woo, woo. Da, 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 da. I got her on that one. I did. There's something purple in the background.
Have y'all seen Bearded Bards? Y'all know who the Bearded Bard is, right?
Yes.
Have you guys seen one of his recent videos where he said uwu and ara ara?
I don't know what the second one. That one went past me. What is that part?
I don't even remember.
Oh,
what it
it's the
means
guy
in
version?
Japanese. I don't even
Oh.
remember what it means in Japanese. I'm about to look it up on Google Translate right now.
You know what the
Google
title of this
Translate,
live
ara.
is? That might
Eschaton?
be scary.
Eschaton?
Yes, Matthew 24. Or, yeah. How we have strayed from our topic.
Oh yeah, very much so. I think it. I wasn't there when Jeremiah first joined. I wasn't there when Jeremiah first joined because I was in class, so I didn't catch all of it.
We were. Elizabeth, you missed it. I did an exegesis of most of Matthew 24 as a starting point for postmillennialism.
Google Translate.
What did you just mix together two melodies? It was like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and then it moved into like, and then it moved into Binary Sunset.
Yeah.
Aw, Ellie. You're not wrong, though. It's because there's so much sensationalized garbage on TikTok, and it makes me mad. It makes me want to punch a kitten. Don't worry, the kittens are safe, guys. They're fine.
Like,
They're
why
fine.
is it that
They're
when
all the
I
kittens
heard
are
you
okay.
say, "Oh, y'all have a
You
great
forgot
day,"
someone in the chamber.
Autobots roll out. I love you.
Thanks for stopping by.
Ooh, who remembers Transformers Prime?
I never watched much Transformers.
I
There
only
really
watched
is,
one.
though. See, she knows what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of dumb
Elizabeth
stuff
Based.
on TikTok. There's a lot of dumb stuff on TikTok.
Autobot.
There were people in the live before you guys came on that were talking about the jab, and they were talking about Elon Musk being Mr. Man, and I'm like, dude.
In the end, who cares?
He's
Christ
gonna
is
take
coming
over
back either
Twitter.
which way. Like,
That's true.
eschatology
And
is
all
not a
enemies will
Salvific
be made a
issue.
footstool.
Eschatology is not a Salvific issue.
Yes.
It is a secondary issue.
Yes, Ellie, and that is wise.
I saw Ellie say something. So I got invited to study music in Italy in July for a week, and one of their requirements is that I also, in addition to the COVID vaccine, that I have the booster shot, which I have the vaccine, which I regret because I got COVID anyway afterward. But now they want me to get the booster shot because the Italian government is different than the American government, and I'm trying to figure out if that's necessary because I don't want it.
What's preterist?
Full preterism means that you believe that all of prophecy in the Bible has come to pass. I'm what you would call a partial preterist because I think that after like the first two verses of Revelation 20, everything else is future. Is it heresy though?
Sorry for
Yeah, I mean, I could maybe see that being. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about it, calling it heresy though.
To me, like when I'm thinking about people who believe that all of Revelation has already happened, the second coming has already happened, to me that kind of undermines the power of revelation in the way that it's prophesied, because if Jesus comes back, we're going to know it. Everybody's going to know it. Like, beyond a doubt, people are going
Right.
to
The
know.
second coming, I 100% agree.
Like, the skies.
Not only that, but also, like, if the second coming had already happened, then we're either in the 1,000-year reign, or everything in Revelation is wrong, thus making the entire Bible wrong.
No, that's not quite right. So the cloud coming. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Doesn't it also say during that 1,000-year period that the Holy Spirit will not be present?
No, that's a presupposition by futurists.
Okay, because I heard that today and I was like, I don't.
So
think
that's not
right,
there.
But I don't know. Okay.
It is not. So a post-millennialist and a partial preterist, which is what I'm saying, would say that the 1,000 years, it's either, some post-mills would say it's the last 1,000 years of the church age, and then others would just say it's the entire span of time between the final destruction of the covenant of works and then the second advent of Jesus, the second coming. So the cloud coming would have been the 70 AD, where he didn't touch down. It wasn't the second coming. And then the actual second coming is him accepting his bride, the church, which is the bride, and accepting his fully finished kingdom. All enemies will be made a footstool at his feet, and then the last enemy to be defeated will be death, which is consistent with the timeline in order that everything was written. What's a dispy thing? It is. That is generally part of the dispensational belief, yeah.
I believe that a lot of the things being prophesied, talking about like of the end times, are happening. Like, for example, very current one, nation against nation. You got Russia against Ukraine, right? And there's also like more earthquakes, things like that, which I've heard are on the rise. So there's things that have been prophesied, like, that are signs of it coming.
Should we go back
that are happening
to Matthew 24?
But I don't. Yeah, I actually read that today. Let me get.
You done sparked it.
Bible study
Matthew
time.
24.
Well, I would love to continue talking eschatology. I actually have to get to bed. I know. It's just, responsibilities and adult.
Right when I open the Bible, he runs away. I'm just kidding.
Well,
I'm not going to do the whole exegesis of it.
I also have to probably eat, maybe eat something, because I haven't eaten anything since like 9 o'clock this morning.
Okay, fair enough. So
I literally read this today and highlighted all of it.
Just the whole thing.
Literally Matthew 24. I read it today and I could not stop highlighting.
So far, Matthew 24 is the most beat up part of my Bible.
But anyways, I'm going to get going. I'll talk to y'all later.
Have a good night, bud.
Verse
so
7
I'll do a quick version.
And 8 is what I'm talking about.
Exactly right. So in chapter 23, of course, we see he's roasting the Pharisees, right? He's telling them all of the wrongs that they've done. Mm-hmm. When you get down to 23:34, you see, therefore I send you prophets and wise men and scribes, some of whom you will kill and crucify, some you will flog in the synagogues and persecute from town to town. Who is that describing? Mm-hmm. Peter was crucified. Paul went from town to town being flogged. So that on you may come all the righteous blood shed on earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, whom you murdered between the sanctuary and the altar. Truly I say to you, all these things will come upon this generation. Mm-hmm. So put a pin in that one. Then right at the end there, O Jerusalem, the city that kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to it, how often would I have gathered your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, but you are not willing. See, your house is left to you desolate. For I tell you, you will not see me again until you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. See, your house is left to you desolate. What is the house of the Pharisees?
I don't know, honestly.
It'd be the temple.
Oh.
That'd be the temple. So in the very first part of Matthew 24, Jesus left the temple and was going away when his disciples pointed out the temple And he answered them, you see all these, do you not? Truly I say to you, there will not be here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. That prophecy from Jesus was fulfilled in 70 AD upon the destruction of the temple by Titus, commanded first by Nero Caesar. There's no contest at that at all.
Yeah.
From any eschatological belief. So the thing is the presupposition a futurist will make is that now moving on to this next section, suddenly Jesus is talking about a far-flung future 2,000 plus years later.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, we know scripturally that there were no chapters and verses. Matthew just kept on writing here. So right after Jesus says this to the disciples, they ask him a question. They go, sat on the Mount of Olives. The disciples came to him privately saying, tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? So the Greek there is aeon, not cosmos. So it's not the end of the world, it's the end of the age. So I don't know if which translation are you reading?
NIV. Mine says age too.
So yours says age, okay? Because I know KJV says world, New King James says world, but it is not cosmos. So right after he says that, that's the question that the disciples ask him. When will these things be? Well, what things? The things he just talked about. The destruction of the temple. And of the sign of your coming and of the end of the age. What age? What age were they in still? The covenant of works. When did the covenant of works finally come to an end? Some would argue when Jesus resurrected, which is a fair statement. Others would say it was when the Jews could no longer possibly fulfill the laws of the Old Testament because they couldn't make sacrifices anymore. Something to think about.
That's interesting. I've never thought about it. Yeah.
So the part that you are referring to, nation rising against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famine and earth. So right before that, verse 6 would be a better place to start. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. So when Jesus was saying that, because keep in mind through this whole section, he's talking to his disciples, right? So what would that mean to the disciples? Why would wars and rumors of wars matter to the disciples? So you familiar with the term Pax Romana? Pax Romana means the peace of Rome.
Right.
So the peace of Rome was basically if any rebellion or any uprising started in Rome, they'd be squashed immediately. So you never heard of wars or rumors of wars at all because Rome squashed them. So if him saying that to them would have been shocking. It's like wars and rumors of wars. It's been decades since anything like that has happened. So if us reading this as Western Gentiles, we would say, oh, I hear about wars or rumors of wars all the time. But is Jesus speaking to us right here, or is he talking to his disciples?
Fair point.
Fair point, right?
Yeah.
So to me, that's him talking about what's going to take place to them and answering the question that they ask him, what will be the signs of your coming and of the end of the age? Because then right when you go into verse 9, and there were famines and earthquakes. The famine is what actually triggered the Jewish Revolt in AD 64. And that's what triggered the Jewish War 3.5 years later until the final destruction 7 years later of the temple. All of those times and years that you might have heard about, the 3.5 years, then the other 3.5 years, all that applied right on time in 64 to 70 AD. But so in 9, there will deliver you up to tribulation and will put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will fall away and betray one another, and many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations. And then the end will come. So right here we see a tribulation. Then we see the one who endures to the end will be saved. And then we see the gospel of the kingdom being proclaimed throughout the whole world. And then we see the end.
Interesting.
So right there is postmillennialism.
Yeah.
If you read it in the order in which Jesus presented it, a tribulation speaking specifically to the disciples, all of which died except for John, just as Jesus prophesied in the book of John, which is amazing.
Right.
And then false prophets arose during that time all over the place, and that's recorded in Pliny the Younger, Tacitus, Josephus. There was one more. I missed one. Who did I miss? Anyway, so here's the last thing. I'll skip. I don't want to go through all of it because, I don't want to just keep on babbling here. But so if you skip over to verse 32 of Matthew 24, so all the way up into that, you see a description of what is going to take place, right? So then he says this. So also when you see these things, you know that he is near at the very gates. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. So he says that twice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And what is a generation to someone who's a Jew? 40 years.
40 years?
40 years. And why is it 40 years? Exodus. That generation had to die out before they could enter the promised land. That generation was 40 years. So to any Jew,
I was thinking
which is
like 500 some years, like Abraham. Okay.
Oh no, yeah. Yeah, so Matthew, his focus in writing his gospel was to Jews. Luke's focus was to Gentiles. So Matthew used the language the Jews would understand. So that 40 years in that generation language, they would know exactly what that means. Yep, 40 years in the wilderness. Yeah. So that's just one small facet of why I believe that most of Revelation already happened. And most of Revelation is hyperbole, and almost all of that hyperbole comes from the book of Isaiah, and some Jeremiah too, and Daniel.
Well, see, you're way more versed in the Bible than I am. I'm in the process of reading through it because I've never read it in its entirety. So I'm like going book by book and just basically.
I just sound like it because I've studied this topic a lot.
That's okay. I mean, you're teaching me stuff. So.
But thank you. Cool. That's kind of you to say.
It's cool.
There's some books I know I've only read once, and I still don't know. I know this sounds bad. I don't know if I've actually read all of Psalms. I know I've started them and gotten far, but I don't think I've ever actually read all of it.
Yeah.
But
I started reading Proverbs and I got so confused.
Did you? I love Proverbs. Where'd you get confused?
Where is it? I think I highlighted it in my other Bible. So I can't find it.
Oh no! I got dust on my Bible. Oh well. There's no way I can ever keep it all clean.
No, anyway. Where is it? I don't know. If I find it, I'll send you a DM. I think it's in my other Bible.
I love that. 12:1. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates reproof is stupid.
Knowledge.
Knowledge is what brings us together today.
Is what brings us together.
That blessed arrangement. The dream within a dream. Wow. True wow.
True wow.
The thoughts of the righteous are just. Anyway. I probably should hop off myself eventually here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for hopping onto my live.
Gosh, it's 9 o'clock.
It is.
9 o'clock. Are you in Central
It's already 9. Huh? I am.
Are you in
Where
are you from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota? I'm in Louisiana.
Way up north.
We ride alligators to work.
I have family in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Slidell.
Cool. Yeah, I know.
Or is that Mississippi? Yeah.
Slidell is Louisiana.
Who do I know for? Oh, yeah. Jenna's from Louisiana. Or is she Mississippi? No, Louisiana. Do you know Jenna? Jenna Reformed is her handle? Oh, okay.
Doesn't ring a bell.
UK. Oh, UK.
All right, I'm going to go.
Oh, Eastern.
And probably play Red Dead before bed.
I read that. I enjoyed that game. It was fun. Well, peace out. It was great talking to you. We'll have to do it again.
Yeah, you too. I'll talk to you later.
Peace out.
Bye.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Hope you enjoyed 2 summaries of Matthew 24, a longer one and then a shorter one. But as most of you know, it's one of my topics that I really enjoy. So we'll have to do this again sometime. So hope you guys have a great night, and God bless you all.